What an ending in Edmonton. The Elks now 2-0 for the first time since 2019. But yes, one more game to go here on Super Saturday. And you can see the Riders Stampeders game is underway at McMahon in Calgary. So without further ado, Paul LaPolice and DT Derek Taylor, take it away.
Action on the inside, but I love what Green does. He undercuts this slant route as the ball's a little bit too far inside and gives him the opportunity to undercut that ball and almost get a pick.
Want to welcome you in if you're watching Montreal and Edmonton. The Elks winning on Cody Fajardo's touchdown pass in overtime. The 2-0 Elks, I should say. Touchdown run, pardon me, as we wait Trevor Harris here on 2nd and 15 deep in Calgary territory. Underneath, it is complete at the 20. Taken by Dell Duncan Busby. That will now set up Saskatchewan for a field goal. As the Elks go to 2-0, Lapo.
Nice, outstanding win. And a guy named Justin Rankin had another big day, as we see, going through the stats on this game. Good stop here by the Stampeders. That's what you got to do to Trevor Harris. Can you get him in some difficult long yardage situations, force him to check it down, all right, get him off the field.
Alex Hale lines up for a 27-yard field goal attempt with this very stiff breeze. The hold from Oscar Chapman, and it's Saskatchewan scores on its opening drive. Keyshawn Johnson getting open. He did last week. He started it this week as the Saskatchewan Roughriders get up to the early lead here in Calgary. Vernon Adams, first chance to look at him, had a game-winning drive against Winnipeg, but minute 4 robbed him an opening win. The 30-28 loss in week 1 against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They start immediately with play action. Vernon wants deep down the sideline for Tevin Jones, almost taken away by Marcus Sales, and it'll be 2nd down. Take a look at the Calgary offense, and an offensive line that gave up 4 sacks in week number 1.
Chris Fortin, last year rookie, had to start for an injured Bryce Bell, retained the job through training camp this year, and Jalen Philpott led the team with 7 targets, 5 of 96 last week at this new boundary slot position for Jalen Philpott. We'll talk about that today and what it means for him to play closer to the ball.
Yeah, you see him near the line, on the line. This little jump from that Saskatchewan defensive line, and the pointing will ensue.
And you can see that 1st and 10 pass that went up in the air. There was an open receiver. Vernon Adams put the ball up in the air. The wind just took it and brought that football back. That's how it's so important, how you manipulate throwing into the wind and also having the ability to run the ball into the wind. Let's see what happened here.
We'll take a look. Desmond Evans, the defensive end for this. There you go. There's Evans jumping, and then as a response, William Barnes, it looks like. Response.
Offside. Saskatchewan number 98. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
Evans, the rookie out of North Carolina State, a sack and 1 taken away by penalty in a nice debut.
Yeah, really good last week, and then certainly understanding, trying to, as these young guys try to understand the hard counts and being good with the hard counts.
With the penalty and the incompletion, 2nd and 5 for the Stampeders here in their opening drive. Saskatchewan running 5 across the front. All 5 will come. Adams pressure in his face immediately. Evades it Vernon Adams style and gets spilled at the 46-yard line. The pressure immediately from Antoine Brooks. It's a gain of 1. It'll be 3rd down Stamps.
Sometimes when you release the back out of the backfield, you have a free player off the outside. You see Woods right there, and you see in a position right where he's coming off the edge. You've got to account for him when there's not a position to be able to, you got to get the ball out of your hands when there's a free rusher like that. Kind of surprised Vernon there on that free rush.
Mark Fassett to punt into this wind, gusting to 46 kilometers an hour, forces Letcher to run, and he's got a 36-yard punt, and he is whacked down before he gets to the 40-yard line. 1 possession apiece, 3-0 Saskatchewan. Trevor Harris, Mr. 400 yards of last season, 400 yards against the Stamps last year. What has he got in favor? One. Trevor Harris, career against the Stampeders, 3 wins in 18 games.
Yeah, one of those is in a Grey Cup. And I know why this is, because I used to go against that Calgary team. Their defense over the years was outstanding. You know, usually the Calgary Stampeders always came in, not only with Bo Levi Mitchell, but they always had a great defensive unit to face.
First half at the Stanfield given to A.J. Ouellette in the run game. A little under 5 yards a carry in week number 1 as we take a look at the Stampeders defense with a valuable new addition, Lambo.
Yeah, certainly there's a lot of good things going on with this defense for the Stamps. You know, Clarence Hicks, you know, 3rd in the CFL with 12 sacks last season. And then talk about this guy. Led the team with 6 total tackles last week, but tackle for loss last year, 1st in the CFL. And Adrian Green, West Division All-Star, tied for 1st in the CFL with 6 interceptions, already making plays early in this game.
2nd and 6 for Harris, surveying. Throws it into a hole, hit immediately at the 50-yard line. There's the completion to Jalen Johnson, and Saskatchewan is on the move with the wind again.
Watching this is going to be a layered route where you're going to try to put a player here, you're going to put a person deep, and you're going to put a person underneath, and you're just trying to clear this out. Watch this. We're going to try to clear out and then show up behind the corner route and throw it over the top of the halfback. This is so hard to throw. You see Adrian Green recognizes it, tries to get in to make the play, but a great throw in between for a 19-yard gain.
Just flip it to Ouellette. He is hit very quickly, drags it forward for a couple of yards. Kyle Wilson made first contact as he saw the fullback split out on the line of scrimmage ahead of that run.
The hardest thing about this Saskatchewan offense and Trevor Harris, he keeps getting first downs. He puts you in a position where you're going to have a lot of plays you're going to have to face. He's going to get first downs, and once he gets too many first downs, here comes a shot play. This was a team last year that was one of the most explosive downfield passers, even though Trevor Harris gets his, well, he throws it down, he throws check downs a lot. He stays on the field to create those shot plays.
It'll be 2nd and 9 for the Stampeders. Perhaps in field goal range with this breeze. Harris guns the out, led Jalen Johnson into the Calgary bench and the netting and all sorts of things going by.
And here's what the Calgary defense has already got 2 good stops because of this. Last week, you like the stats? You want a stat here?
Oh, give me.
8 for 8 on 2nd and medium for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, but only 4 conversions out of 10 on 2nd and long. So you long yardage twice for the Stampeder defense to put Sask in. Won both of those.
Hook it to my veins, Lapo. 2nd and medium stats. As they bring on Oscar Chapman to punt instead of the long field goal. Sky high, end over end, and it leaks into the end zone. McAllister will hope it goes out the back, and smartly done by Tyreek McAllister. What with the new rules?
Can we talk about Oscar Chapman? That guy's stealing money. Absolutely stealing money. Last week he had 2 punts all game. Unbelievable.
68-yard punt there, though he might like that back because he gave Vernon Adams the 40-yard line when we return. VA over 400 in the meeting with the Riders last season. What does he have in store this time? From his own 6-yard line to attempt to win the game. Took a sack on the first play, then had one of the throws of the year, Lapo.
Yeah, and he also had a 2nd sack on 2 sacks, stayed on the field, drove 104 yards, 2 huge throws for Phil Pott. Used his legs to get this ball, this one down to Brooks, beautiful catch, and then zone read into the end zone for the 104-yard touchdown. But as you said, just a little bit more time for the Bombers.
Couple of 2nd and very long conversions on that drive. A little flip. Right to left, here's Brooks. And he spills up, held up very well by the Saskatchewan defense. And the rookie in his CFL debut, Juju Hughes, holds up the no gain.
James Vaughters comes in as a free agent for this defense from Winnipeg. Had 6 sacks last year trying to replace Malik Carney's productivity. How about this guy? Anton Brooks, 10 defensive tackles last week. Career high for him and tops in the Canadian Football League. Jackson Ford gets his 5th career start at free safety, filling in for Nelson Lacumbo. Had a start last year here in Calgary.
Calgary fake starting the play and either did so very successfully or very unsuccessfully.
Yeah, I mean, this is what Calgary can't have happening on 2nd and 10.
Procedure.
Getting backed up
Calgary
here.
number 61.
So the
5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
The philosophy when you're into the wind is you should be taking as much time off the clock as possible. You want to run the football. You want to stay on the field so Saskatchewan doesn't get great opportunities to either get yardage or keep punting with the wind at their back. You want to hold on to this football when you're into the when you're into the wind and minimize their opportunities with the wind.
2nd and 15 for the Stampeders, and they'll go screen to Mills with blockers in front. Mills gets back a couple of yards before Brooks makes the tackle, but 3 yards will not be enough, and Calgary will be forced to kick this one back again into this very brisk Calgary win.
Really good recognition and chase. You can see them coming off the edge on the outside. Caleb Saunders, 13 defensive tackles last season, 2 sacks. Really good push, recognizing the screen and chasing it down.
Mark Vassett back to punt. Their 2nd round pick in last year's global draft. Their 1st overall pick ended up taking his job mid-season. Nice boot. Letcher outside the numbers, 46-yard punt, and he's got the sideline, the 45. Letcher can't break that final tackle of Kalon Thomas, but the Riders set up just before the midfield stripe flagged down on the play. Sam Emelis had a game of guys would pay money to have a game like this.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns last week. Just
during the
multiple
return,
guys had plays, but had a great understanding of being in a relationship with Trevor Harris. The right spot at the right time. You see this corner out versus a touchdown with great leverage. High point the ball for these good plays.
That 3rd touchdown to Emelis looked like they were just playing on the schoolyard. They made it look so very easy for that 3rd one. Emelis, his 2nd career 3-touchdown game. You see Saskatchewan marching it all the way back there, dinged for holding on the return, and that one is punishing because they were right near midfield. Now they'll start this drive at their own 16, 1st and 10.
I love everything about Emelis. When you watch his film, he blocks, he's physical, he plays away from the football. What does that mean? He works when the ball's not coming to him.
Harris will throw on 1st and 10, looking for something. He whips it out wide and through the hands of Samuel Emelis, and it falls incomplete. It's not in the end zone, so you can't make all the catches unless they're in the end zone.
Easy throws on the outside. This is what Trevor Harris recognized so good at. This is what's called a free access throw. What does it mean? There's access on the outside. He's just going to take that throw. He sees it. The ball's out of his hand quickly to Sam. Just a little bit too far on the outside for him to make that catch.
Going with the wind, are there some effects that Trevor Harris will have here and then Vernon Adams the next quarter?
You do have to be a little bit careful how many deep shots, because the ball may stay with the wind and push it downfield. You'd like to kind of throw the underneath dig routes.
2nd and 10. Little twist up front. Harris gunning it. Incomplete, intended for Johnson with a man all on top of him. That Jaden Granton coverage it was. And Saskatchewan will be forced to punt.
Another good stop by Calgary. Again, this is the 2nd series in a row where they forced a 3rd and long, or a 2nd and long, to put them in a position. And you can see the #1 receiver on the outside. This is what's called the dig play. They're going to clear out underneath and then try to throw the dig play, but it's just very difficult when you have a defensive back inside position on a defensive inside dig route, so you get a DB in position.
Running into the halfback as opposed to Green chasing him when they tried that earlier. As we get a 0 on the play clock, and
so why would you
time count violation? Saskatchewan number 91.
So why would
5-yard penalty
Sask
remains 3rd down?
This close to snapping this football? Why? Because they're in a situation here where they're trying to see as this goes. I'm just not sure how they're trying to sort out this 20-second clock here, because you actually want to get this thing kicked as soon as possible to make sure you conserve time with the win.
Tyreek McAllister standing at his own 45-yard line. He will come up to get it, a chance to expand on his work last week. Good coverage downfield. McAllister up near midfield before he is brought down by Antoine Brooks. Low scoring, couple possessions each way, the Riders.
And head coach Corey Mace. They played here in Calgary together. Then Micah Johnson played for Corey Mace in Saskatchewan. Now he's coaching alongside Corey Mace. And Mace talked about how he's so excited to take on this role, and he asks a ton of questions. During that time he was telling that, literally Micah Johnson walked in on the meeting to ask him a question. Now, DT, we ran into him earlier today. We asked him about the new role. He told us he's absolutely loving it. And we did joke because he's a former defensive lineman, but you may remember there were times he had to fill in as an offensive lineman. So he said, what happens if there's an injury? Are you still willing to do that? He said, absolutely, guys. I told the team they could sign me.
That's a quick one. You don't need to fly anybody up from America.
And another piece of this defense has changed. You know, you think Malik Carney gone, A.J. Allen gone, Micah Johnson gone. A lot of defensive pieces got to be replaced on this defensive team.
Habakkuk Baldonado as well. Yeah, and a lot of changes when you're the Grey Cup champions. The vultures come for your players, right? Dedrick Mills here on 1st and 10 as Calgary with great field position and a strong run. 6 yards from Dedrick Mills.
Dedrick on, you know, what Calgary loves to run, which is this outside zone play, and they just stretch the defense and create creases. You're always trying to create creases in the defense and then let the back either circle the defense or get one cut. Really nice for Dedrick to get them, you know, second and a good 6-yard game as they keep rolling this clock trying to get in field goal range. So hard to get in field goal range when you're into the wind. Every punt doesn't get as far. The passes are hard into the wind.
2nd and 4 as they motion Philpott into the backfield. They've had him a little bit of everywhere so far. And they hand it to Philpott. And it doesn't really go anywhere, but it's an interesting wrinkle for this Calgary Stampeders team. It'll be a loss of 2, and they'll have to kick it.
As you watch from this end zone, I think worst thing about is penetration. You're going to get some penetration right in here because you have extra linemen at the line of scrimmage. You have everybody covered, and then Ali Saad breaks right through there. He gets an inside move, gets upfield, and you can't have that upfield penetration and inside zone play. Ali Saad, 2nd-year player from Bowling Green, really good upfield pressure.
You really liked him in the draft process.
Yeah, I thought he was great to play inside or outside. Played the most out of all those rookie out of their defensive lineman rotational guys last season.
Bassett booms one, and Calgary will take a no yards penalty. Oh, an unfortunate mistake for the Calgary Stampeders, a 55-yard punt that Letcher was probably going to have to concede the single point, but Calgary's going to find themselves 3 yards with a 15-yard no yards call if they want it.
Yep, and then take the point off the board, right? And they'll make their decision on what they want to do.
You see it here, Letcher making the decision. This decision has changed, right, this year with the new single rules, but Bassett's punt was just a hair too far, and yeah, you see the Saskatchewan
No yards,
Roughriders.
Calgary. 15-yard penalty, 1st down, no point.
So Saskatchewan could give the point, take the ball at the 40. They've chosen to give up no point and take the ball at the 30-yard line.
Yeah, very smart here. Just away and going, hey, we're going to keep Calgary in the 1st quarter. We're going to hold them out, make sure they get no points, because next quarter, Calgary will have the wind behind them, and the field position should flip and change. So they want to make sure they prevent any points in Calgary in the 1st quarter.
Trevor Harris, 3 for 7 for 63 so far. A.J. Ouellette gets some room on the outside and brings the Thunder with him. A quick 13 yards for the Saskatchewan 1,000-yard back.
You watch on this side of the formation, you're going to get an outside zone play right there. Little bit movement inside. Kyle Wilson gets caught up on the inside. A.J. makes him understand, bounces it right outside into that hole where the Will linebackers are. They're running a little bit. They love this outside zone play too. Just a 2nd 1st down of this game for the Riders.
They call it 12 yards for Ouellette, 1st and 10 from the 42. Might as well do it again. This one a little more traffic. Held up for no gain. Miles Brown is in there. And with a play like this, you just expect Jalen Hutchings to be in the middle of it.
Yeah, same run, just to the other direction. But Jalen Hutchings does a great job bench pressing the offensive lineman off, moving out of the spot and stopping A.J. Ouellette's momentum and forcing the ball back inside. Hutchins, big dude inside of 304 pounds. Shows really good strength and power.
We talked to Dave Dickinson this week. They gave up 15 carries for 113 yards to the Bombers. Dickinson told us Hutch solves a lot of our problems inside. He certainly does. Harris on second down, pressure coming, and it'll come back. A lot of action for Jalen Johnson, and makes a nice contested catch at midfield.
Sometimes this is what you want to do. Everybody's trying to, you're going to have people, let me show you this. These slots are going to get covered. That slot's covered. That slot's covered. But where the one-on-one is out here. So Trevor recognizes it and says, I'm going to take the curl on the outside versus the one-on-one. Adrian Green's too far back. I know it's a long throw, but he throws it with anticipation for the first down, understanding that everybody else is doubled. I'm taking the one-on-one on the outside.
Saskatchewan going very heavy here, and they will throw out of it. Harris going play action down the middle for Emelis at the 20. The leaping catch is good from Sam Emelis. Some of that Mark Mueller fun. I'm going to put out a big personnel package, and I'm going to throw it.
Exactly what you're talking about. Show a heavy run look. You see, you've got a tight end right here. You've got another fullback. They're going to show run and boot out of it. Now, why do you do that in that picture? One, it's a run look, but more than anything, it's a max protection. Everybody's blocked. You can see you give the quarterback a pocket and you throw the one-on-one post downfield for the 38-yard gain here. Look at Emelis go high point that football. That's what you need from your receiver. Go up and take it away at the highest point. Sam Emelis with another explosive play.
Extra blockers, and they will keep it to the ground this time. Not much room for Ouellette on the final play of quarter number 1. 2-yard gain for Ouellette. 3 points on the board for the Riders. They'll be in close for quarter number 2, but then into the win as we return to play.
Lost the hat. The hat's gone.
West showdown here in Calgary. Team had the wind in quarter number 1. Was it the team with 137 net yards or the team with 8 net yards?
Yeah, but more importantly, Derek, it's Saskatchewan doing what they do. They stop teams from running the football. Calgary's best in the CFL running football. What do they got? 5 yards rushing. So they are doing what they always do. Stop the run, make you throw it on 2nd and long. So hats off to them. You knew Calgary had to run when they were into the wind, and they're stopping them from getting those advantages. Now Sask has got to play into the wind for this whole quarter, so it'll be interesting to watch how they play through the wind.
We resume with Saskatchewan on Calgary's 15-yard line, facing a 2nd and 8 and a draw play to Ouellette. It's 2nd and long. Why not run the ball when you have A.J. Ouellette? More Mark Mueller. You think you're going to get the pass, I'm going to give you something to run. You think you're going to get the run, I'm going to give you the pass.
Yeah, and why these draw plays work is because if you look here, everybody's trying to play the pass. Everybody's expanding, and now you have a one-on-one block across the field. Everybody's accounted for. You let the ends get upfield, you give it to A.J. Ouellette, and now he can just let the pass rush go up and get this gain. It's a 13-yarder on 2nd and 8. Huge run to get the big first down to put you inside Tommy Stevens' field position.
Yeah, from the 2 with Tommy Stevens, he will go around the edge, and Stevens going to walk in for the game's opening touchdown. Perhaps the most effective short yardage quarterback and team in the Canadian Football League. And they've got the Riders their first touchdown of the game.
Yeah, a little interesting wrinkle we've seen here. Ali Saad playing a little bit of fullback on this team. He comes around the edge of the defense. You see him right here, and then he helps create the field. He creates this Tommy Stevens shorter edge, so Tommy can just circle the defense. Sometimes you want to run outside instead of all those big bodies and that mass of hell in creation. There's a bunch of big bodies inside there.
A 7-play, 80-yard touchdown drive. Took about 3.5 minutes. They finish it off against the breeze. They take a 10-point lead should Alex Hale's convert be up and good, and it is. Tommy Stevens, 95% of his quarterback sneaks last season. Oh, it's a 100% spike with a touchdown, and the Riders up 10 in Calgary. Riders quarterbacks reviewing what went very well on that 7-play, 80-yard touchdown drive.
Yeah, start out with some run game. You see A.J. Ouellette getting a couple of tight inside zone plays, and then a big play on the perimeter on the outside. And then Sam Emulets goes up and gets this ball, and then a draw play to get him really close. And you got to finish with Tommy Stevens around the defense for the big touchdown drive.
And Calgary with the 10-point lead. Calgary 10-point deficit, but now going with the wind as Tyreek McAllister froze there for a bit before he was dropped by Jackson Ford. He looked up and saw a lot of white jerseys. Aubrey Miller Jr. getting the high fives before making the tackle. So now Calgary with the breeze and 13.5 minutes to work with it. Any hurry, any pressure? Does Calgary feel anything in the spot down 10?
Two things. You want to do everything with speed. You want as much time to run as many plays in this quarter as possible. That you can open up your pass game. You just got to stay on the field.
Take the handoff, Vernon throwing it underneath and almost taken away. Antoine Brooks made all the plays last week. Was a hair's breadth from that one.
Watch Anton Brooks right here. They're going to do a little bit. They're going to do a little run on the inside after a zone read fake. Teams you'll see always trying to put one player in two positions that you can't make a play. Antoine Brooks plays between them both and then gets the knockdown.
2nd and 10 for the Stamps. Jalen Brooks, top of your screen, tight to the formation again. Here come the Stamps. Adams bringing it out wide for Brissett, who has to leap and make the catch. Just past the sticks, the tackle from DeMarcus Fields, and that is the Calgary Stampeders' first down.
Passes on the outside. You're always trying to get somebody in and then somebody out, and you're just going to read what the corner does on the wide side. So as the corner comes down, now you can throw on the halfback on the outside throw. Great read by Vernon and great go up and get it by Dijon Brissett. We're very happy to have him here. Last year, best year of his career, 65 catches, 907 yards from Toronto. Good addition to this receiving core. Gives them somebody a little bit more veteran presence.
Calgary doesn't dip into the free agent pool a ton, but Dickinson was very, very happy they were able to get Dijon Brissett. The run from Mills goes for 2, so Calgary in 2nd and long again. Philpott in the slot to the low side. Here comes Saskatchewan with a 5-man rush. Vernon dancing around, stays alive and dives forward to the 45. Depending on the spot, this could be within range for Quincy Vaughn and the Calgary short yardage unit. Very keeps the play alive.
Very good play. Devin Adams trying to get in here as Vernon feels pressure. They brought 5 rushers, which puts all the offensive linemen in a bind. It's basically man coverage for the offensive linemen. They handled it pretty good, but he felt the pressure from White, scrambled up to get them to the short yardage situation. Good run by Vernon.
For Vaughn, it was 4 for 4 in his quarterback sneak so far this season. Diving over the pile, he needs the 47. And that will be a Calgary first down. Vernon Adams, as I saw him in week number 1, Lapo, I thought, man, he really doesn't run as much as I thought he did on those scrambles. It feels like he scrambles the pass, and then I look at the stats and I think, well, he had 35 pass scrambles last year for 286 yards, and he is running as much as he has in the past. I don't know why I had a different feel for him.
Last week, 2 weeks ago, he had 2 first downs with his legs, and if you can create 2 or 3 with your game, that just keeps you on the field. It makes it life difficult for a defense.
They split up 4 receivers to the left and run opposite direction with Mills, and there is that Saskatchewan run defense you talked about, holding him to a gain of maybe 2 yards.
And the other thing with talking to Vernon last week, he really talked about, hey, I got to make sure this guy threw 2nd most deep balls last year in the Canadian Football League, but he's like, I got to make sure I don't always look for the deep ball. I got to throw the checkdowns when they're there. And you saw that on the 104-yard drive for the touchdown last week. Very proud of that. That's what Dave Dickinson talked about. I was really happy he took some of those underneath throws, not just the shots downfield.
We talked about Harris's numbers against the Stamps. Those numbers for Vernon against the Riders, they look more like what you would expect, whereas Harris's numbers, a total surprise. 2nd and 8 for the Stamps. Harris, they get to him with 4 men again. He steps up and guns it across the middle, low, and Tevin Jones picked that off the turf. They're saying it is incomplete. Adams, there you see it, scrambling to throw when maybe he had some room to work with on the run. And it'll be third down, Stamps.
Yeah, he just sees this player right in front of him, so he's going to take this shot, get the explosive play. I think it just bounces a little bit too close for Jones. Can't pull it up off the ground.
4 possessions and 4 punts now as Bassett forces Letcher to run, and that is going to be a beautiful punt out of bounds at the 10-yard line, putting Saskatchewan's offense into a hole, into the breeze. Double the next highest player in tackles for a loss in 25. Britt Dort talking Derek Moncrief.
Well, and when we talked to head coach Dave Dickinson this week, he said, I don't even have to mention it anymore. Everybody knows the leader and the player that Derek Moncrief is. I asked him about re-signing for Calgary this past offseason, and he said, I really liked what we were building last season. I felt great about the culture, great about the coaches. I said, why are you still seeing success at this point in your career? What's working for you? He said, I feel like I watch way more film now, and I'm always a few steps ahead of the opponent. Lapo, you mentioned in that first game of the year, he led the defense in tackles. Tonight, he already has 2.
And he sniffs out the wide receiver screen to Kean Schaefer-Baker, but Schaefer-Baker, who takes a late pop on the sideline, able to gain good yards, but 7-yard gain, but Moncrief saw it early on.
And from his position, you watch him. He's got to cover the bubble screen. They try to get a block on him. He fights over the top of the block, comes down, tries to get in a position to help out on that bubble screen on the outside. This is somebody you have to have an answer for in the run game and the pass game, especially the run game. If he gets too close to the box, you throw that bubble screen like they did just right there.
2nd and 3 for Harris, so they empty out the backfield. Into another read. Wide balls on the ground, and Calgary's got it. Markel Lee is on top of it. And Calgary has forced a turnover already in the red zone.
Clarence Hicks is the one who gets it, but it's really a coverage sack. You'll see Hicks right there as he comes in. Trevor has to pull the ball down, can't get to his primary read, and then is able to get that because Trevor had to go to his 2nd read. Great coverage. Clarence Hicks gets there. You don't go for sacks, you go for the football. Right?
The previous play is under review by the command center.
You can see the defensive staff. They talked all week about, we got to get pressure on Trevor Harris. We said, well, good luck. Yeah, like, how does that happen? Good coverage sack right there, creating the takeaway.
From that first look, it looked like the big mitt of Jalen Hutchings took away what Harris wanted the first time around. Tom Valesi saying it'll be reviewed as all replays, as all turnovers are. They'll have a decision here.
We'll see what happens when they come with Tom Valesi, what he has.
Was Harris trying to throw the ball?
After review, the ruling on the field stands.
Right, absolutely. And this is what this defense did last year. One of the strengths this year, they took the football away. 2nd in the CFL with 42 takeaways. That's what they got to do to create some of these. And now you got a short field. You got the wind at your back. Great start. The 2nd quarter for Calgary.
Yeah, from the Saskatchewan 14-yard line. Here come the Stamps. They give it to Dedrick Mills through the middle to the 5 and down to the 1-yard line. Dedrick Mills unlocking the run game for the Stampeders right there. 13 yards. And it's quarterback sneak time for the Stampeders now.
You're always got to make sure you have all your edges. Calgary runs all these multiple formations, a lot of receivers close to the line of scrimmage, and they block both edges, and then they just hand it off to Dedrick Mills to get the ball up and inside.
Quincy Vaughn, the short yardage quarterback, up over the top and in, and the Stampeders have their first touchdown of the game, taking advantage of the turnover, and with the convert, they would make it 10-7.
Great complimentary football. The punt was a 50-yard punt. Back the Riders up. Takeaway, short field for the offense. The Calgary Stampeders, big run into the touchdown. So great complimentary football by the Calgary Stampeders.
Quincy Vaughn, the 2nd-year man out of North Dakota. He's a fullback, he's a quarterback, he's the short yardage man, he's perfect on the short yardage this season, and he's got the Stampeders on the board. With the breeze, the points are flowing here in the game. And Jude McAtomney has a chance if they can get everybody onto the field. 7 on the play clock because there's some confusion for the Stamps. McAtomney, pardon me, puts it up and through, halfway through quarter number 2. Calgary back within a score. 10-7 thanks to Quincy Vaughn. His first touchdown of the game. The showdown is on in his ears.
Well, we said it up top. Bob Slowick said, we got to get some takeaways. You heard it. I'm going to take care of Trevor Harris. How do you do that? Make him pull the ball down. Can't throw to his first read. Do that. Create a short field. Dedrick Mills takes over. Big explosive play. Vaughn finishes the drive with a touchdown.
Apologies, we're having some transmission difficulties. We're back here in Calgary with Saskatchewan trying to respond to Calgary's touchdown. 5-yard gain for A.J. Ouellette sets the Riders up 2nd and 5 from their own 41. 4-man rush. Harris looking to the backside, and there's Keyshawn Johnson just across the 50. He'll get wrestled down by a pack. Harris turns to his right and just knows Keyshawn Johnson is coming open, it feels like.
Yeah, understands. He's just kind of gonna, Keyshawn Johnson's gonna come up here and run in. A.J. Ouellette's gonna go out, and Trevor's just gonna read the underneath player. And if you watch right here, all of a sudden we expand. We start breaking out to the outside. Lee does, gives him the inside throw. Easy recognition for Trevor to throw the inside. Keyshawn for the first.
Does he see Markel Lee has his back turned? Is that?
He just sees him expanding. Once he expands, he expects him to go push to one, the #1 receiver.
Calling a gain of 9. It'll be 1st and 10. It'll be A.J. Ouellette time as he pounds it through the middle. A.J. Ouellette and the Saskatchewan Roughriders, I can't imagine a more perfect player and team compatibility in the Canadian Football League. They love what he does.
Yeah, and then throw Jamarcus Hardrick on that offensive line. You've got a really good unit that loves to run the football. And hey, that's been their MO for this football team. You know, Saskatchewan, they protect the football. All right, they stay on the field. We were talking to Corey Mace about it. I'm like, how about a 12-play drive for your defense? It's like, it's amazing. Our guys are relaxed, they're waiting. You know, this unit stays on the field, creates first downs, and makes it a lot easier for a defense. Now they're into the win.
2nd and medium, as you mentioned, they were 8 for 8 on it last week, and there's another one across the middle. Schaefer Baker makes a man miss. Kean Schaefer Baker with a block, he'll score! Schaefer Baker, touchdown! 53-yard catch and run. Jalen Johnson, I think, provided the block that sprung him. Little boogaloo. Little boogaloo. I would too if I could score like that.
Schaefer Baker splits this zone, and the protection's really good, but Trevor's recognition, as you see him flip his hips, see the space in between the defense, he gets it, throws it right off Lee's shoulder. Keyshawn Schaefer, when there's that much space, you put receivers in a position to make people miss. When you hit that ball full speed in stride, that's what happens on that, leads to a touchdown.
Alex Hale for the convert. It is up and good, a 74-yard touchdown drive into the breeze as Kean Schaefer Baker gets his first touchdown of the season. Had a big game last week, earned maybe a little unflattering nickname. They call him now Little Spoon. Little Spoon certainly got it done here.
Yeah, you can see as we roll this and go ahead, you're going to see as he's working upfield, he's just going to split the 2 linebackers. And as he makes the little inside move, Trevor throws it before the middle linebacker gets it. You want to throw it as he's breaking inside of the first linebacker, creates the space you need. There's nobody in the middle of the field. Schaefer Baker runs it in. You love big receivers you can spot the ball to in that space.
A lot of the talk, obviously, after last week's game was Sam Emelis and Trevor Harris telling us Emelis is an absolute dog with his blocking. And Jalen Johnson downfield, pushing a defensive back out of the way.
And here's the hardest part. You talk to these defensive coordinators, you're like, all right, what are you going to do against Trevor? Like, let's not play zones because he's going to pick you apart in zone. Well, then if you start playing more man coverage, it's easier for quarterbacks to recognize where to go the football in man, and then he can get the explosives. You get a lot more explosive in man coverage, but it's so hard with how well the quarterbacks are playing. Not only Trevor Harris, but all the quarterbacks in the league right now are really picking apart the zones.
Well, and let's not kid ourselves. That throw was not far out of the reach of the linebacker, Kelechi Anulabechi. Like a yard to the left, and that ball is on the ground.
And he knew he was throwing to the right, and he actually used his eyes to move the middle linebacker out of the way.
McAllister from his 23-yard line looking to get unleashed, flagged down, and he'll go down just shy of the 50-yard line. Flag is generally not good for the return team in this scenario, as Calgary certainly happy to have Tyreek McAllister back in the Canadian Football League. Hamilton in 2023.
During the return, holding, Calgary number 82. 10-yard penalty, first down.
That is once again, it's a second penalty for rookie Leomi Ojatalayo. That sets the Stampeders back.
And this is a huge penalty because you had great field position with the wind at your back. With a wind this strong, you don't need that many yards to get your field goal. So fortunately, this is going to back them up a little bit.
Oh, and one of the riders down back toward the bench. I think he was able to walk back toward the 50-yard line. It's Kerfala Exame, but he'll be up and back. And yeah, the rookie Ojatalayo. Couple of penalties so far. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, both were on returns. Setting them back.
And the reason the Calgary Stampeders drafted him was because his abilities, big, strong, physical, and he can play receiver. They're going to teach him how to be a receiver, but eventually he's going to have to start on special teams. Just can't get those early penalties to hurt his offense.
So you're saying coaches don't like penalties?
We don't like penalties.
Do you like rookies? How are you on rookies?
We don't like rookies that get penalties. How about that?
There we go. Okay, it's a toxic combination for Dave Dickinson.
Rookies get penalties, Derek. That happens.
This game happens fast, right? We watch it here on TV. It's nowhere near as fast as it must be down on that field. So here's Vernon Adams, 3 of 6 for 14 yards passing, and under pressure he's going to gun again. A little underneath route, and is tackled immediately by Josh Woods. That one complete to Eric Brooks, who scored a touchdown for the Stamps in their season opener.
Yeah, Eric Brooks, does a really good job last game. He had a couple double moves for a touchdown, had that big catch at the end of the game to get the ball inside the 3-yard line. Just sits down on the little crossing route. Woods is right there to wrap him up.
Stampeders take what they can get. They get a couple yards. They get to 2nd and 4. Need to get somebody on the line of scrimmage up on that far side. Harris signaling to move some bodies across under a 5-man rush. Adams has to throw down to Dedrick Mills, and not much chance that was going to be completed. And it'll be 3rd down for the Stampeders as their offense continues to fluster. Their 4th 2-and-out of this game.
Yeah, another good stop by the defensive line. They're rushing 5 players, forcing one-on-ones. Vernon doesn't have a good feel for where the underneath throw is. He's got to throw it under duress. Misses the underneath throw to the back.
Bassett can unleash this one into the wind. Look at this side-winding kick, forces Letcher to run, and he catches it. Maybe could have let that one go out of bounds and take the penalty, but Letcher puts his hands on it, and Calgary will be pinned to its 21-yard line. Saskatchewan, pardon me, to its 21-yard line after the 60-yard punt. The 2026 FIFA World Cup continues tomorrow with 4 matches. Spain and Saudi Arabia, noon Eastern. Belgium faces Iran at 3 p.m. Eastern. Uruguay, Cabo Verde at 6 p.m. Eastern. And New Zealand versus Egypt in the 9 p.m. Eastern showdown. All the matches on TSN, CTV, and Crave. 3 minutes left as that ball gets out of bounds. And we will take the 3-minute warning. Tom Valesi signals timeout. Saskatchewan.
Welcome to the descent into madness. 3 games? 3 games is a lot. 3 games is a lot. We're on the home stretch, though, guys. Halftime coming up. Our thoughts on this one. Plus, we'll look back at a wild finish in Edmonton. We can do it. We can do it. We can do it.
He's only got 4.
All right, a 7-yard pickup for A.J. Ouellette. 7-yard pickup there for A.J. Ouellette after the 57-yard punt. Mark Vassett taking advantage of the wind and perhaps a bit of a blunder from James Letcher, but there's A.J. Ouellette helping them get out of a hole.
Yeah, really good run up field, 7-yard gain. Moncrief blitzes off the edge. They handle Moncrief, create a huge seam on the inside to get A.J. a big 7-yard gain. State.
2nd and 3, a couple of tight ends. Anything still possible from Saskatchewan. They'll run it, and it'll work with A.J. Ouellette on the outside, up across the 40-yard line. I never know what to expect from Mark Mueller. Double tight ends, he could do anything out of here. He goes conventional with Ouellette.
Yeah, and you know, they do a good job with this. You're going to see this is like what's called a pin and pull. See, a guy blocks down, and then you pull around. And you're trying to separate the defense and create creases. That's what happens on this play. On the pin and pull scheme, you can see Mark Mueller there sitting down, making the plays here. Hey, they're doing a great job because they're running the time off of this, not giving Calgary a chance to kick a long field goal if they can stay on the field.
If you can run for 10 yards like that last play, you'll just keep on running with A.J. Ouellette, 11 for 64 before that one, so now 67 yards in the first half.
Yeah, no, they certainly would love to drive the length of the field, get another touchdown pass, but if they don't, because it's a long field goal into this win, so they're probably not taking a really long field goal, but if they drive the length of the field, punt it, and then create a really long field for the Stampeders, they win this battle of the win position when they're into the win. Because
Calgary wanted the win here in the 2nd quarter, and if Saskatchewan can rob them of a chance to have the ball with the wind, that's a win for the Riders here. Leading by 10. The 2nd and 7, flags down pre-snap as somebody got a little across the line of scrimmage.
So this is a, you know,
offside. Calgary number 1. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
If you watch Clarence Hicks right here, off the hard count, you can see Trevor with the hard count. They know this is going to happen. You're putting yourself in a 2nd and medium position to put yourself 2nd and short. That could have been what you call, sometimes we call those, you know, we're not calling a football play. We're going to do a hard count, and I'll call the play after so nobody jumps off sides.
Hicks with a sack in their opener against the Bombers. 12 sacks last season. May not get an opportunity here. Now 2nd and 2, and there is Ouellette busting through the right side of the line, and bodies pile up after Saskatchewan has the first down with now 1:50 to go in the half, and a first down means more time for them and less time for Calgary with this breeze.
Yeah, real difficult penalty to take on 2nd and 7. To create that 2nd and short, which is really hard, but they just going to lean on you and get A.J. downfield with his shoulders square for the first down.
Trevor Harris last week, we talked about a bunch so far, about 30 of 36 and 3 touchdowns. A couple of balls I think that got away from it could have been taken away, but for the luck of the draw, they were not, and Saskatchewan gets away with the win there. So not a perfect game from Harris. Toss to Ouellette, going outside as they keep it back on the ground, and there's Calgary responding. Not bad there. Looks like it'll be a gain of about 4 for Ouellette as he pushes up to almost 80 yards. Or pardon me, Thomas Bertrand-Houdon, who runs hard like A.J. Ouellette, a guy I love watching. Yeah, TVH.
He does a lot of different things in this system, whether it be blocking, sometimes get some carries. You know, it was interesting seeing A.J. Ouellette last week take a quarterback sneak because they didn't want Trevor Harris to do it. So Mark Mueller does a lot of different things using a bunch of different bodies in certain positions.
If you can get value from non-starters on your roster, it feels like that's a major win. It was good for 3 yards there. 2nd and 7 as Harris throws the quick out, and Schaefer Baker again. He'll step out of bounds, throw at the sticks, race past the sticks, and the drive will continue.
This is what Trevor Harris is so good at. Pre-snap, he sees Kyle Wilson lined up inside position on Schaefer Baker. He immediately gets the ball in his hands and just throws the ball on the outside for an easy gain on the outside because he's got Wilson inside position on Schaefer Baker. Clear out the corner, throw the ball.
Schaefer Baker now 70 yards receiving. And it looks like Saskatchewan's going to be able to use all of the clock here in the first half. Run it once again, bouncing outside, Bertrand-Houdon. Down to the 35-yard line. The third-year man out of Delaware State. there are some players, Lapo, in this league that I absolutely love. And Bertrand Hudon doesn't get a ton of carries or a ton of action, but when he does, he's going to leave an impact on some defender.
Those guys always, when they get their opportunities, they're going to run harder because they know they don't get that many opportunities. So Hudon, really good 7-yard gain. And again, low center of gravity. You want your running backs to keep their feet moving.
2nd and 3, under 50 seconds to go here in the half, and they'll run it again, and Bertrand Hudon will get to bounce it outside. He'll be wrestled down eventually by Derek Moncrief. There's 5 yards and a first down with still plenty of time for the Saskatchewan offense.
Let's show you what a counter play is. Here's one guy, and you're going to see one of the slots come in, and they're trying to separate the defense. They're going to kick out and separate the defense. You can see it happen right there. There's the kick out. There's the block inside. Give him the opportunity.
9th play of this drive into the breeze. It's a corner out for Emelis at the 5. And he's got it. Just between Sombak and Anthony Johnson. Sam Emelis with a big catch. And Saskatchewan is on the doorstep.
All right, take a look. This is a play that you always see in the Canadian Football League. It's going to be a corner route with high position. If these two guys stay low, you throw the corner route. He sees it immediately that there's inside position and the corner was low. The ball's up in the air, but huge catch.
Harris now over 200 yards. The deep out for Schaefer Baker, and it falls incomplete. It'll be 2nd down.
Pretty much the exact same play to the other side of the field now. A corner route to the back of the end zone. Just a little bit got caught up in the wind on that. But Trevor just understands. He saw that previous one on the Emelis catch. He says, I got inside position. The corner stayed low. I'm going to take this throw. The ball get caught up. So Emelis does a great job coming back to this football, knowing he's going to take also a shot by Anthony Johnson.
I feel like the corner route is the least defendable pass.
Well, it's so hard because down here at the goal line, you always want to protect the inside, the quick throw, so that they want you to try to take that throw to the wide side of the field, the harder throw.
2nd and goal for Harris. Empty backfield. The corner again for Schaefer Baker. He's got the ball in his hands. And he little spoons it again as Schaefer Baker has the touchdown. Schaefer Baker did that pose in the embrace of a BC Lions player last weekend, earning the nickname Little Spoon from his teammates. Not sure I want that nickname, but I would absolutely want the touchdown here from Trevor Harris.
And you love big-bodied receivers, 6'4", 205. Same thing, Trevor recognized, I got this one-on-one. I got a player inside position. I'm just going to put it this time. I'm going to bench it towards the sideline a little bit to give him the opportunity to just catch it on the sideline.
Jackson Sombak, the safety, doing everything he can to make that catch, pull it out of Schaefer Baker's hands. The convert goes wide, and McAllister will explore the space a little bit around Devin Adams, and he's planted by Miller just before the 5-yard line.
And this is great situational football, because here's what happens.
You know what that means when you see this face?
We always would talk about situational.
You know what that shit mean?
We always talk about this scenario. It's like, I want to run all the clock and score a touchdown. We used to call it squirrel offense. We're gonna take all the time away from you, and then we're gonna score at the end. Now Calgary's got nothing to do because there's only 13 seconds left on the clock. Schaefer Baker, great awareness, understanding, and coming back to that football for the touchdown.
I don't know the official rules here, but I believe Schaefer Baker owes $5 to the swear jar. Is that how it works?
Might be. We'll add that.
Okay.
It was Bill. Not supposed to swear on the air, but you know.
He's such an interesting character, Schaefer Baker. In the Craig Dickinson era, Dickinson a couple of times when he was the head coach of the Riders said, Kean needs to learn what time the bus is. And I wondered about him at that point in his career. Which way is it going to go? Is he going to be the guy who's late for the bus? No, he's turned out to be a dominant receiver when he's able to be on the field.
All of us.
Yeah, and certainly had some injuries over the last couple of years, but just love the ability with a 6'4", 205-pound player. You know, we get into talking about how great the Canadian receivers are in the league this year. He's by far one of the biggest guys you're going to see. Justin McKennis, these are really good big players that you can spot the ball to. On that 11-play, 86-yard drive, took 2:48 off the clock, and that's the most important thing. The Calgary Stampeders get no opportunity with the wind at their back for a field goal.
Look at this hang up in the air at the foot of Alex Hale. Free ball, and the Riders have it with 12 seconds to go inside the 45. Alex Hale's kick hung up in the air. One bounce and the presence of mind to pull it in. I believe it's Kerfala Exame with the recovery.
So with the ball way up in the air, one of the Stampeders got to recognize this, come up and take this football, make sure you get it. Once the ball goes 10 yards, it's anybody's ball right here, so they don't get up and get it. Exame, outstanding job getting this. Now they got a little bit of yardage. You got to get it probably at least 12, 15 yards to kick this field goal into the wind. Great execution by the special teams.
It would be about a 52-yarder for Hale. 10 seconds to go, so one, maybe two plays can Harris pull off. There's a quick stick route just inside the 40-yard line. That one pulled out by A.J. Ouellette, split out wide. 6 seconds left on the clock. Do they risk one more offensive play here?
No, now what's going to happen, though, you can see them they're holding hands up, throwing their hands up. This is going to put they're going to put their field goal team on, but they're going to put the guys who can cover kicks. So it's going to be, you're going to have other players. You're not going to have your regular offensive lineman. You have the guys that can protect, but are also a little bit more athletic and run downfield, whether defensive ends or how they're going to put themselves in what's called their speed field goal team. So covering is this long field goal is missed into the wind.
As Oscar Chapman will pin this at the 47-yard line for Hale into the stiff breeze. He's got the distance. And it's wide to the left, and here comes McAllister with a chance to turn this game around. McAllister cutting back 30. McAllister, if he gets past Hale, Tyreek McAllister. One man to beat. Can Woods catch him? Touchdown! What looked like an incredible opportunity for the Riders with the Exame recovery ends up costing them thanks to Tyreek McAllister. Not what we expected.
The missed field goal return in the Canadian Football League is the most explosive football play. The odds always talk about if there's a missed field goal, how many of those score touchdowns over the course of a CFL season or the history of the CFL. When you miss and you have big offensive linemen or big defensive linemen on the field, there's too much space, can't cover it, and you got these great returners and too much field.
And you can have your speed team, your long field goal team out there, but Tyreek McAllister proved a little speedier than all of them. So what a turn that is. What could have been a 26-7 lead is now 23-14 for the Riders after Alex Hale's second miss of the season. And the Stampeders get a little hope as they go into the locker room at halftime.
You know, and I've done this before. Like, you know, I had one of these happen to me trying to kick a long field goal right before the half. But sometimes, you know, sometimes you're like, okay, we've got a lead. Let's not do this. But, you know, you also got to get some points sometime and bury them.
Felt pretty good to see Tyreek McAllister. Schaefer Baker for the Riders obviously felt very good. 4 for 74 and two touchdowns.
47-yard catch, and certainly having great numbers. He's averaging 18, almost 19 yards per catch for the game. 2 touchdowns for Schaefer Baker, keep him going. Hey, let's go down to the sideline with Kean Schaefer Baker.
Kean, first off, what is it about this Stamps defense that you're finding ways around it so well in the first half?
Yeah, they got phenomenal, well-coached team. Defense has been making some plays, but at the end of the day, it's what we do on offense. It's about us just following our assignments and doing our job.
Seeing the way that half just ended, how much is this wind playing a factor in how this game is playing out right now?
Yeah, football, you got to be ready for any condition, anything that comes your way. The wind, that's nothing compared to us. We see snow, rain, we're ready for it all, but it's the little details, it's the little things that we just got to be on key with, just not have those little mishaps.
Thanks for this one, Kean.
Appreciate you. Have a good one.
From Tyreek McAllister, who's with our Britt Dort.
How much did your play to end that first half you feel like kickstart this team and get them back in this game?
I think he did a lot. Well, I hope he did a lot. You know, we struggled a little bit in the first half, and the defense played really well as much as they could. Offense, we struggled, and my team needed me to make a play, so that's what I did.
What is the message at half when you're dealing with wind like this and how to play in this game?
Just play it as best you can. I mean, can't nobody control it. The other team playing it as well, so we just got to play it as best we can.
Thanks for this one.
Thank you.
52 yards of offense from the Stampeders, 120 from McAllister.
Yeah, here's a couple of things. Vernon Adams, 4 of 8 for 20 yards. And Dedrick Mills, 4 carries, 23 yards. Normally, you're like, this is a blowout football game. But no, because of the two, you know, the fumble by Trevor Harris backed up, and Tyreek McAllister's huge return keeps them into it.
And McAllister back to return this Alex Hale kickoff. Hale kicking into the breeze. McAllister will get an opportunity from his own 23-yard line. Cutting it back and into a hole and up to the 40-yard line.
And let's do one more, right, as you see Vernon coming out here. 4 of 8, 20 yards we just talked about. And here's a question. You're like, didn't Saskatchewan have the choice in the second half? Why didn't they take the ball? Why? They wanted to take a side, so in the fourth quarter with the wind at the end of the game, they have the win. So that's with the scenario that happens in these wind games. They get the opportunity in the fourth quarter with the wind, and that's what you always want.
Yeah, that final 3 minutes plays out to be about twice as long as a regular minute, right? So you have these extra long quarters, and every coach in the league now goes for it as Adams starts with his 5th completion. That one across the middle, good for 8 yards as he connects with Rashawn Janusis.
Yeah, Janusis just sits in the dead spot in the zone as the defenders, the underneath coverage expands. Easy read for Vernon, just take Janusis underneath.
And just taking what he can get, and if what you can get is 8 yards, you've set up your offense pretty well here going with the breeze. Can they unlock Vernon? Can they unlock Dedrick Mills? Can they get anything against this Saskatchewan defense? Tight end to the right, Adams will roll that way, and a little shovel underneath the Philpott. A little creativity from the Stampeders. His first catch for Philpott, and they're into Saskatchewan territory.
This is what's called a shovel play, where these two guys block backwards. You're going to pull somebody around, and then you're going to option this end. If he goes upfield, you'll throw it up inside. You can see he widens. You throw it back inside on the shovel play. So you're widening at a defensive end, and once he widens, he shovels for the 9-yard gain. If the guy stayed inside, Vernon keeps the ball on the outside.
They'll stay in that heavy package and motion Philpott to the near side on first down. And there goes Mills out the left-hand side across the 50. He's planted down by Jackson Ford. Dedrick Mills, the guy who dominated the matchups with the Riders last season.
Yeah, 32 carries. You can see right here, 190 yards. But the biggest thing is 5, 10-plus carries. Certainly creating first downs on first down, that's what you want to make sure you do. You saw that last play right there. He makes Anton Brooks Jr. miss in the hole, just like a really good football player with 12 tackles last week, makes him miss on a clean shot in the hole. Dedrick Mills.
You know, here's where Calgary will need to pick it up. 2 for 8 on second down so far in this one, facing a 2nd and 6 in Saskatchewan territory. Despite the screams of a hold, here comes the blitz. Adams has time, has a man open across the middle. It's Philpott, 25, and down to the 20-yard line. The protection held up against the blitz, and he finds one of his favorites, number 85.
Clear out underneath, get a big dig by Jalen Philpott underneath. Huge, big gain for 29 yards as they clear everybody out underneath. Jalen Philpott's doing really good things when they move over to what you call a 4-by-1 set. They move him from the boundary to the field, run a dig and back into the middle of the field in front of him.
Calgary's longest offensive play of the game. Second time Calgary is in the red zone. Play action and drag it across goes Brooks to the 15. Can't quite break the tackle, and he's put down inside the 15-yard line. Good for 6 from Eric Brooks.
Little BTL, what's this called? Behind the line of scrimmage screen pass, where you can see the receivers already blocking. And this is some of the adjustment. They've struggled to run the football inside. What do? Fake the run, get the ball to a productive player out on the flat. to get some second and short yardage situations so we can kind of run the ball second and short to create second and short or third and 1.
And second and 4, you could run the ball, you could throw the ball. Leaves Vernon a lot of options here. They will take the run option, but Mills stumbles. He's submarined in as Brooks came in very low and very early, no gain, and it'll hold Calgary to a field goal attempt.
Here's the problem when you bring multiple receivers in. You see all these receivers in the blocks, they're coming back, but Brooks is going to blitz because he doesn't have to cover anymore. He's going to show. You see Philpott trying to get in to block him, but he beats him across his face to make the play. Little chirping at the end saying, you ain't going to get runs on me.
As they line up for the 22-yard field goal attempt, we, as non-football people, we think of, we'll just bring in more blockers, but more blockers
means more defenders.
Exactly. As the Mikitomney kick is up and through, Calgary scores on the opening drive. They get it to a 6-point deficit here early in the third quarter, but can they slow down A.J. Ouellette? 13 carries for 72 yards. And I don't suspect he'll stop anytime soon. Highlight, almost 6 yards a carry from A.J. Ouellette in the first half.
Yeah, he's been able to keep this team. The best thing the Riders are doing, second down, 11 of 15, 73% conversion. A lot of it's because of this guy. Draw plays up to the inside, 13 for 72. And he's got 3 10-yard runs. Great first downs himself. Really good. Mixing it up when you stay on the field, then all of a sudden the play action passes show up.
Double tight end, why not go back to Ouellette? He's hit at the 41-yard line. And you saw that highlight pack, Lapo, a lot of yards before contact, a lot.
Yeah, and then, you know, sometimes you got Jacob Brammer, Jamarcus Hardrick, Zach Fry, a bunch of big guys leaning on the defensive line, and you talked about the Calgary Stampeders struggle against Winnipeg 2 weeks ago, stopping the run. So you can see Saskatchewan Roughriders looking at that film saying, hey, let's make sure we try to run the football on first down.
That one good for 2 yards from Ouellette. And 2nd and 8 as the Stamps go back to, or pardon me, the Riders go back to 5 receivers and now 6. Harris waiting, lofting, caught by Schaefer Baker and down to the 35-yard line. Once again, Trevor Harris seems to know exactly what's about to happen.
So this is what you call a poison route. He's going to go up and he's going to widen out to get the linebacker to move, and then he's going to break back inside as you run it here. So you watch him. He's going up. He breaks out real quick and then back inside trying to get the linebacker. But sometimes you just throw it over the linebacker when you have a 6'4" player that you trust. So great location by Trevor because the linebacker didn't expand too much, but Trevor just threw it up for his big guy to go catch it.
Schaefer Baker over 100 yards. This throws Kyle Wilson for just a second there. And now it's 1st and 10 from the 35, and they'll run it with Ouellette again. He's going to have to fight to get anything good out of this carry. It'll be a gain of about 2 for Ouellette. The 3 receivers last week and today. Not quite last week's totals, but 220 for the big 3.
Look at the title, Saskatchewan. I love that. Where's our graphics department? Amazing. You got 3 different guys. Who are you going to double, right? Who are you going to double? You got A.J. Ouellette, just really good. And that's what Trevor will bring in. He's going to get to his 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th read in his progressions. He talked about it. That's what I work on all offseason, getting through my reads and my progressions. 2nd and 8. Not a lot of pressure brought by the Stampeders in this game, and the Riders are dealing with it. There's Jalen Johnson, but that ball hits the ground. Johnson, a bunch of targets early in this game, had the 1st down, but he did not have the football. Just in a good. Trevor flips his hips, finds the backside dig. Johnson just drops it, but he feels the linebacker underneath. Doesn't secure it. Wow, and look at this, Lapo. Alex Hale with the missed field goal into the breeze just before halftime. They're leaving the offense on the field on 3rd and 8. Is it for real? Is it pretend? It should be for real, because unless they think they're going to get 5 more yards for the field goal. Calgary rushes 5, the deep out to the wide side for Evelis. He's got it in his hands, and it's a catch. And Corey Mace's aggressiveness into the wind nets him 13 yards.
yards and a first down.
We talked about this earlier in the game. Trevor just taking the one-on-one on the outside, and it's just going to be an out-breaking route. He doesn't have to worry about anything else but the leverage of the corner. He throws it early, throws it outside for the huge throw and a huge first down. You're in that position right here, like, do we punt it? We're in a position where, hey, like, we've got to make sure we stay on the field and keep them from having any more win plays.
They pass up on a 41-yard field goal attempt as they hand it to Ouellette in the red zone down to the 16-yard line.
Because that 41-yard field goal is not a 41-yard field goal into this win. So you got to be very cautious and then give them the opportunity. So good call, great execution. Trust your quarterback who can throw complete passes at 80%.
It's a massive statement about what you feel about your kicker, right? Because the field goal attempt at half was certainly longer than that, and he had the distance. He's got the distance, but those uprights can make it tricky.
It might be a measure on the win more so than your kick.
Interesting. Yeah, an interesting decision from Corey Mace, who will be a little more aggressive. 3 yards on first down, so Harris at 2nd and 7 under the 4-man rush again. Pressure off his right side. There's Ouellette to the 10. The spin to keep it alive and down inside the 5. From his coach, Andrew Harris, I feel like may have taught AJ that one.
This is why Trevor Harris is one of the best in the business. Watch the linebacker, Markel Lee. Watch him leave. They're trying to put everybody out in coverage. But Trevor knows that he has a check down in AJ Ouellette. So immediately, what's he do? Nobody in the middle of the field. I'm just going to drop it down to AJ Ouellette, give him yardage. His vision is outstanding as he starts to look to the right, know what he has inside. Everybody's trying to cover on the outside. He's always finding his check down.
13 yards to the Calgary 4, 1st and 10. Screen to Schaefer Baker. Can he get in for number 3? And the nice tackle. Jaden Grant wrapped him up, lost his helmet along the way. 3 touchdowns for Emilus last week. Feels like, hey, 3 for Schaefer Baker this week. Balanced attack.
This is all great by Jaden Grant right here. You know, he has to run from his high position, run down because there's nobody covering Schaefer Baker. He runs all the way down. Nice tackle. That's what you have to do when the secondary players have to come downhill, make a play on these bubble screens. Really good play by Jaden Grant.
2nd and goal from the 3. Would Corey Mace go on 3rd down if this ball were to fall incomplete? 9th play of the drive is a Harris drop back. Locked it for Keyshawn Johnson for the touchdown. Damon Webb and Andy Maletti will discuss what exactly went wrong there, but Keyshawn Johnson, all is right for the Rider.
Mark Mueller really trusts his quarterback in this situation. You got just a couple of yards for it to be in the end zone. So if you run the ball here, you can go for it on 3rd down. But he trusts his quarterback, puts the ball in his hands, say, hey, let's throw the slant, put it in a spot where only he can catch it. Keyshawn Johnson with an amazing catch, or really an amazing throw by Trevor Harris with 3 yards. We've got a penalty showing up here on the...
Couple of flags down, and they're holding back halfback Damon Webb from the Saskatchewan. By the way, the Riders leaving their offense on the field up by 12. They'd be looking to go up 14 in this spot. Not a spot where a lot of coaches are worried about 2-pointers at this point of the game, but Corey Mace changing it up. So a couple flags down after the play, well after the touchdown, as referee Tom Balesi has some discussions with the gang in Toronto. And if this penalty is against the Riders, it would set up, against the Stamps, it would set up the Riders for a little easier on the 2-point convert instead of just the 3.
Yeah, and you're going to go for 2 here to make it a 14-point game. That's what you want to do.
When do you start worrying about that?
You just follow the numbers till you get to a point where, like on your sheet, I think my sheet would have stopped after 15 points. You know, like.
But like when in the game, because there's still 20 minutes left in this game.
Yeah, but still, like, you know. All right, here's the.
After the touchdown, we have a 15-yard misconduct penalty, Calgary number 1, that we applied on the kickoff.
Clarence Hicks called for the misconduct.
Okay.
The defensive end.
See number 1, I think Clarence Hicks right here is in the pile. You can see him there, the little punch on Emilus right in front of the official.
So Hicks will cost his team on the ensuing kickoff. The Riders going for 2 to extend the lead to 14 if they're successful. It's A.J. Ouellette to the ground, and A.J. Ouellette to the end zone. A.J. Ouellette, the 2-point convert. So with just under 20 minutes to go, the Riders now lead at 31-17. A 9-play, 70-yard drive into the win, plus the convert. The conditions certainly not affecting the Riders in this battle of the prairies.
Quick slant. Just get the ball inside, over the top of 2 defenders. Damon Webb's not in position to make it. Deshaun Johnson. Yeah, I mean, last year this guy led the CFL. Second down receptions. Great player for the Saskatchewan.
High kickoff from Hale again caused the Stamps problems in the first. This one handled much better by Tyreek McAllister, but then even better by Antoine Brooks on the tackle. The Stampeders in a 14-point hole need some big output from their offense in the final 19 minutes here. 14. This feels like a big moment in this game.
Well, the biggest thing is there's 4:30 left, and they've got the wind at their back, but sooner or later it's going to flip again to Saskatchewan. You see right there, points in the wind. That's the difference of this game. Sask got 28. Calgary's got 0. The penalty did not help this team either. They get a penalty that pushes them all the way back to start this drive on the 20, and it should have been at least at the 40-yard line.
Yeah, a needless 15 yards given up. High snap. Of course, Mills, he'll bounce it outside. Guys at Chase flag down, and Mills sends a defender down into the sideline. DeMarcus Fields took the worst of that one at the 28-yard line, but Calgary's backing up like the penalty will go against them.
Yeah, I think William Barnes is going to get this penalty on Desmond Evans. He was holding
Calgary
at the
number
point
14. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Oh, I thought it was on Barnes. They didn't give it on Barnes?
They said, yeah, 14, Clark Barnes, holding to Von Campbell.
Yep, Clark Barnes. We got William Barnes and Clark Barnes, right? The left side of your screen, you'll hear. They'll come right into the left side of your screen at the end.
I see what you're saying about William Barnes.
William Barnes had him in a little bit. That's what I wasn't sure of, but.
Yeah, Barnes is going to the ground, appeared to have some jersey in his hand. But 7 penalties for 75 yards against the Stampeders. It puts them in 1st and 20. BA play action, off balance, completed, so he gets a bunch of those yards back as he connects with Barnes. Barnes, 14 yards for number 14 after he cost them those first 10. 15 yards, in fact, so the parallel construction falls short there.
Just wraps around the outside linebacker on a quick little curl route. You can see Brooks expanding the coverage and giving him a throw on the inside.
5-man rush, check it down to Mills at the 30-yard line. The Stampeders hurrying in this final 3.5 minutes with the breeze. And there is a first down for Dedrick Mills.
Good recognition. Everybody working for width. Throw the ball inside to Dedrick Mills on 2nd and 5. Keep going with speed while you got the wind in your back.
6 on the line of scrimmage. They'll run it anyway with Mills right into a linebacker. Mills able to push the pile a little bit forward to maybe the 37-yard line. Call it a gain of 3.
Yeah, Dedrick Mills, 7 carries so far. They've been trying to get him going, but only 27 yards. You say, well, you got to get your tailback more touches. How do you get your tailback more touches? You can't be 2nd and long all game. That's what's going to cause you problems to be able to get touches to your tailback. You got to get more first downs. You got to stay on the field. You can't be in 2nd and long.
And you have to convert these 2nd and long, so you have the option, right, on the next first down. Calgary fake starting to play. They'll run it again. Adams pumps, whips it out wide. Oh, back inside. Intended for Dejon Brissett. It might have been a little closer to the defender than Adams would have liked.
This could have gone. DeMarcus Fields came underneath it. He's the low player in zone, and Vernon's trying to throw it outside, threw it too far inside to Brissett, and DeMarcus Fields is right there to make this play. Almost made it for a big interception.
Mark Bassett can put this ball up into the breeze. He just wants to keep it away from Letcher. Flag down already Here comes Letcher for the 20, the 25. Oh, up top with the tackle. He breaks through it, and he's across the 40-yard line. He got wrenched by the first man down. Hopefully Letcher is all right.
2 returners to make sure they catch this ball in the air and get something.
Letcher
return
wants to know why there is no flag down for that truck that hit him. As Trevor Harris leads the gang back onto the field, holding a 14-point lead, a very comfortable spot for the Riders.
Too many players, Calgary. That penalty is declined.
They will accept the return and start at the 43-yard line. When we return, Dave Dickinson's side needs to find some points in this one, trailing by...
Looks like you're already ready for that game tonight.
Well, no. I bought some extra stuff last year. I had a shirt, I had a cowboy hat. You know, I spent my whole paycheck at Lamley's last year, so I better wear this stuff when I'm in Calgary. So I'll have a new outfit when I'm here in a couple weeks.
The heat you are casting with the bolo tie and loud shirt here in the
And
booth.
I got a blue belt. I got a cowboy belt too. I'm all ready to go, man. This is awesome. Let's get out of here, right?
I hope Rod Smith can contain himself. If you've got something better than this. Whoa. Man, that is the bolo tie.
Rod, let's go. Rod, get your cowboy hat ready. Let's go.
A lot of X's in that Stetson for Rod Smith. As A.J. Ouellette to the outside. Calgary does a real good job to respond and hold that one to minimal gain as Ouellette 82 yards before that carry. So let's call it 83 now. Gain of 2, 84 yards, and puts the Sask into second and 8. Trevor Harris, just an incredible, well, as we take a look at A.J. Ouellette, just amazing what Trevor Harris, I say amazing, as Ouellette actually needs a moment on the side, on the field here, and the trainers are going to come out and check with him. I was going to say the season Trevor Harris has had, there's Ouellette with the limp and not feeling well enough to make it to the sideline.
You know, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He does have the fumble, but that's the hardest part about playing Trevor. He doesn't make very many bad decisions that lead to interceptions through the course of the game. And right now he's sitting at 74% completions, and just trusting. Mark Mueller and him have a great relationship. He talked about it. He's like, how we design our game plan from week to week. We've always got easy throws available to Trevor Harris.
2nd and 8, the 4-man rush. Harris looking for an option. Oh, Jalen Johnson! Looked like he might have had something going on Anthony Johnson, but that one sails up out of bounds and incomplete.
Looked like a little double move play on the outside on the corner, trying to get Anthony Johnson. We got Johnson versus Johnson down here on the bottom of the screen. Let me highlight these guys. I got it right there and right there. As we go ahead, Johnson versus Johnson, he makes a little out and then up the sideline. So trying to get him to flat foot, had it, he just threw it too far outside.
As Oscar Chapman on the punt after Saskatchewan's second 2-and-out of the game. 45 minutes in, only 2 2-and-outs. Another sign of what this Saskatchewan offense has been able to put up through now almost 2 games. Ball lingers in the air for McAllister. 40-yard punch to the sideline, wrapped up and slammed down by Thomas Bertrand Udall. No touchdown for McAllister there. And not much time going with the win for the Calgary Stampeders. 11 seconds remaining here in the quarter.
Yeah, it's always funny, those last 11 seconds, because I was sitting up here going, man, if those 11 seconds had run down, Sask is punting with the wind and gaining another 7 or 8 yards in the air. So it's always, in these win games, those last couple of seconds before a quarter change.
Coaches think a ton about the win, right? It's very clear. Both coaches wanted to take the win here. The win means, it seems to mean everything going with it in the long quarters. See what Vernon can do on the final play of quarter number 3. Empty out the backfield. Zips it across the middle. Caught on the run. Dejan Brissett into Saskatchewan territory. A big play for the Stamps at the end of the half. And a big play from the Stamps offense at the end of quarter number 3. Will they reap anything from that big catch and run from Dejan Brissett? They need it badly, or they'll fall to 0-2 on the season and 0-2 at home. Riders by 14. The 4th quarter to come. Saskatchewan's dominance, almost 400 yards of offense to 158 from Calgary. The Stampeders now going with the wind, Paul Appelese, here in Calgary, which is substantial. Their offense needs to pick it up because it's just been mistakes that have provided them their opportunities thus far.
Well, the biggest stat, usually you don't have this stat on our stats board, is 28 points with into the wind for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. In Calgary with 0 points with the wind. That's exactly how Saskatchewan wants to play this. And again, this is how Sask wins football games. They stop the run. They don't allow you into the end zone because, listen, the scores happened. They had a short field for 1 touchdown that was given up, and the other one, the defense wasn't on the field. It was a missed field goal return. And then they don't turn the ball over offensively. The Riders don't. So that's the recipe success working once again for Corey Mace and his team.
After Brissett's catch, they're just into Saskatchewan territory. First and 10. Adams, a deep rip inside the 30, and it's caught. Eric Brooks with the big catch. Back-to-back passing plays that the Stampeders offense needed. That was good for 25.
You'll see him motioning in, and then what he's going to do is there's going to be somebody running, clearing out. You always do a lot of these clear-out routes versus zone. You can see the first player clearing through, and then Brooks is over the top of Jameer Thurman, and then a great leveled throw by Vernon Adams over the top, just above Thurman.
Brissett providing the decoy there. The big gain, it is now Calgary first and 10 from the Saskatchewan 29-yard line. A little bit of a run look. And they'll give it on the end around. It's Tyreek McAllister with a head of steam, 20 to the 15. Flag down after the 14-yard gain for Tyreek McAllister.
Yeah, there's going to be a horse collar tackle on this, trying to get McAllister.
Major foul, horse collar tackle. Saskatchewan number 98, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
You're not having success running the ball inside. Why? Because Sask has all their linebackers in. They have extra people around the line of scrimmage, as we see that horse collar right there by Evans. So what do? Is you hand the ball on the perimeter when they're stopping the run inside with extra players. Get the ball out on the perimeter. Evans gets the penalty to put the ball at the 1-yard line. Huge response here for Calgary.
No more half the distance to the goal line on penalties like that. This is first and goal Calgary from the 1-yard line. Quincy Vaughn, the chance for touchdown number 2. He dives and he is in for the score. A badly needed Calgary score to make it 31-23.
How weird is this game? Another touchdown into the wind. Nobody's got any points this game with the win.
It was 28, yeah, that's 28-0 Saskatchewan in the first half, so this is now 35, convert pending, as Quincy Vaughn gets some help from his friends and gets in for his second touchdown of the game. A 4-play, 78-yard touchdown drive. Calgary needed to score fairly quickly. A minute 20 would be very, very quick.
Yeah, and I like some of those calls you just saw. Pat Delmonico, offensive coordinator. Hey, we're having troubles running the ball up inside. They get extra linebackers there. Let's get the ball out on the perimeter.
We haven't reached the point where teams go for 2 down 14. Jude McAtomney, the convert. Calgary back within 7. Riders 31, Stamps 24. Can this Riders offense be stopped is the question we wonder. Don't miss the final round of the U.S. Open live from Shinnecock Hills Golf Club tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific time on TSN. If the wind is as big a factor at Shinnecock as it is here in Calgary, actually, you know what? It might be the total opposite, because all these points being scored against the wind is not in any way what we would have expected. Obviously, in the kicking game, it's been an issue of a missed field goal return, a long field goal into the wind. McAtomney's boot is up in the air, and Letcher fades back to his 12-yard line. Surveying, blocker in front, and he'll be thrown down by Kalon Thomas on the far side of the field. Kelechi Anyalabeci in there as well, as Saskatchewan now only up a score despite their dominance, and Trevor Harris being 7 yards away from his 57th career 300-yard game. Very efficient once again. 3 TDs, 0 interceptions. Needs a big one here. What's their focus here? Because this is a 35-second clock era. Is it the same as the old 20-second clock that they could really exploit in situations like this? You know, I think you're just still playing football here. For Mark Mueller, call whatever you need to do. Do your best.
things in the game plan you've seen off the iPad the last couple of series.
Daniel Johnson, the tight end, to the right-hand side, and they will run it with Bertrand Houdon. Flag down. And the pile keeps on pushing and pushing and pushing. This feels like American Gladiators, my goodness. As it ends up a 12-yard gain. I don't know how much credit we give to Bertrand Houdon and how much to all the guys shoving him. But with A.J. Ouellette on the sideline, it's a nice pickup. However, Saskatchewan does not seem to believe it will stand.
Procedure, no end, Saskatchewan. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
And Corey Mace doesn't understand. I thought 65 Daniel Johnson was the tight end to the right. And Corey Mace doesn't necessarily believe it.
Well, you have a tight end right here.
Yeah.
And that tight end has an ineligible number, but he has to report on every play. He has to tell the officials, hi, I'm reporting as an eligible number, and the officials then can tell the defense, hey, he's an eligible receiver. It looks like he didn't report. That's how the penalty is called.
So though he was on the line in the right position, he didn't do the right thing. Interesting. Harris, the quick out. That one caught. Keyshawn Johnson had to reach back in front of Anthony Johnson to take that one away.
Yeah, so the penalty becomes, you have 5 offensive linemen, and those players have to be covered by an eligible number. If you don't report, that's an ineligible number. And, you know, that hurts on a run play. Sometimes you just say, hey, we don't care, put a guy on the line of scrimmage no matter what to cover that, because it's a run play. You don't get a penalty. You only have penalties when you don't have enough people on the line of scrimmage. You can have as many as you want on a run play.
Yeah, they'll look at the official and brush their jersey, right? Say, hey, I'm eligible. 7 yards for Harris is exactly at 300, and now 2nd and 8. Pocket, a lot of time to throw the jump ball for Johnson, who got his hands to it, but it looked like Anthony Johnson did a nice job to force him to the sideline, force the incompletion.
And the defense used their will linebacker in a position to you see Wilson on the inside, forcing a double team on the inside, forces him to take the throw on the outside. Difficult spot, not a lot of room out there. Anthony Johnson doing a good job, but they took away the inside throw, forcing Trevor to go to the deep throw downfield.
Second straight 2-and-out for the Riders, and what an interesting spot we're in now with McAllister set to return down 7. 53-yard punt. McAllister will just take some and step out of bounds. Can Vernon Adams and the Stampeders offense get some more points in?
70% completion, 144 yards. The ball's up in the air a little bit more. Couple behind the line of scrimmage screens, and then this shot over the top of the linebackers, and then the underneath throws to keep going. Why are they doing so much of this? Because they're not getting what they want in the run game. So good changes of what we have to do scheme-wise, because they're not running the football like they normally are. 7 carries, Dedrick Mills 30 yards. So how are they going to be able to get out of their comfort zone and put the ball up in the field?
Adams 8 for 9 for 124, and they have pressure from Brooks. He's got to spin out from it. Adams, one hop intended for Brooks, and it will fall incomplete. Immediate pressure off his left side from Antoine Brooks, it looked like.
A little bit of pressure. You're going to see Anton Brooks coming off this edge blitzing, and this is what you call a cop-out for the quarterback. He sees it and spins, then he just double clutches this throw here. Difficult. You do all the work to avoid Anton Brooks, the free rusher, and then you just miss a wide open throw. Right? You really got to make sure when you're rushing Vernon Adams, you got to force him back inside. You see Josh Bell, defense coordinator, bring a little bit of pressure on 1st and 10.
2nd and 10. Saskatchewan bringing a lot of folks. Flag down, and the ball is down incomplete. Intended for Dedrick Mills, but a flag down at the snap.
Offside. Saskatchewan number 98. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
Desmond Evans, the rookie defensive end, dinged once again, and how does that change things? Making it 2nd and 5 now for Calgary.
Like you said, the right there, 2nd of the game for Desmond Evans. Hard count, good success on the hard count. A little bit of pressure in here, flipping the screen on the outside versus the pressure. It's huge. Get there, 2nd and medium.
Juju Hughes making his CFL debut in the place of Roland Milligan, being examined on the far side of the field. Hughes, first-year man out of Fresno State, comes to the Riders after 4 seasons in the NFL with 3 teams, plus a little UFL stop in Birmingham.
Yeah, and I loved it, the comment that Corey Mace said this week about, hey, we lost Roland Milligan, a great football player, and now you get Juju, who's going to go in, and he says, hey, Corey spun the positive. You say, listen, Roland Milligan's going to be back. He's a great player for our football team. But, hey, Juju Hughes is a young guy we really like. We're going to get reps for a young guy who's going to make our team better. That's what you want out of your team. Hey, how many of our younger guys can we still win games when they're getting opportunities? Let me circle where he is right there. Okay, this is a non-contact injury as he's away from home, as he backpedals.
Oh, no.
Catches his foot.
And the grab at the back of his ankle. Saskatchewan Roughrider fans don't need to be reminded of Achilles injuries, 5 of them in that 2021 season. And we certainly hope the best for Hughes making his debut, so it'll cause some shuffling now in this Saskatchewan defensive backfield as Malcolm Bell will come in at the corner alongside DeMarcus Fields, and Marcus Sales moves to the boundary halfback spot. So that is the shuffle to adapt for Hughes. Can Calgary take advantage? A jump again. It was Demery or it was Desmond Evans, and I think Evans is saying, this one is not on me.
I think it's Deontay Demery. I think left tackle. I think he jumped.
Procedure.
Hard count.
Wow. Calgary number 60. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
I was going to say it better be, because a rookie taking 3 penalties. Oh, man.
You can see him right here at the left-hand side of the line on the hard count, trying to help your squad, trying to help your offensive linemen. You just can't do that. You got to hold your water. Always talk about hold your water. Stay in there on the hard count.
All right, so we're back to 2nd and 10 Calgary. We're on 33-yard line. Back where we were a minute ago. And Saskatchewan bringing the blitz. Adams stepping in, up for Philpott, and it's knocked away. There's Marcus Sales, moved over to that boundary halfback spot and doing Marcus Sales things there.
Josh Bell brought the blitz. He says, I'm going to make you get the ball out of your hands quickly. He's going to trust. You can see right here, there's going to be a corner out. He's going to trust that his defensive backs are going to be in good position. Marcus Sales, nice spin out of it. He sees the corner out happen. He spins out, undercuts it, gets a knockdown, trying to knock that ball away.
Bassett gets the punt away very quickly. It's Letcher from his own 36-yard line to the sideline and wrestled down shy of the 45-yard line. Godfrey Onyeka in on the tackle. .47 to go here in Calgary. Riders with a 7-point lead, a precarious lead. That's 1 score and a kick convert, so any points here would be a big benefit. Do they trust their kicker even with the wind, having passed up an opportunity in the 3rd quarter to kick one? The handoff, some dancing and some more pushing. In the pilots, Bertrand Houdon again, as well. That still is on the sideline after limping off in quarter number 3.
Calgary's done a pretty good job stopping the run in the second half. I think that was a good adjustment. They've really been able to kind of shut down some of these big runs. They had a couple of big ones early in the half. They had the big start of the 3rd quarter. But when they're needed, creating 2nd and longs for Trevor. Again, that's Trevor Harris' 2nd and medium we talked about last week was 100% conversion. 2nd and long, only 40%. So this is what you got to do, create 2nd and longs.
67% of their 2nd down conversions in this game. They need it here on 2nd and 7. Harris, pressure on him and down! Clarence Hicks busted through, and I don't think Jalen Hutchings was far behind. A timely 2nd sack from Clarence Hicks.
The hard part about the speed of the defensive ends in Clarence Hicks is when he does a speed rush on the outside, you really got to set back. But sometimes he's going to make an inside move. He starts with an outside move, and then he cross faces, gets a big move inside Peyton Collins, gets right to the quarterback. You can't give up your inside foot. You got to protect the inside gap. Big move, Clarence Hicks.
The punt up into the breeze. McAllister wants everybody to stay away from it, and it goes out of bounds. Clarence Hicks listed at 6'2", 224 pounds, does the long stride inside of Peyton Collins. Second sack of the game and a second chance for the Calgary Stampeders. Delivered over 27 million meals to Canadian families in need. Go to purelatortacklehunger.ca to donate. A day that always makes me think of our good friend Chris Schultz and what a big deal this was for him and for fans to get a chance to see the Grey Cup. Edmonton, Winnipeg, Hamilton coming to you soon. Your chance, you can pose with the Grey Cup. You can touch the Grey Cup if you ask Jeff nicely. Great event for the CFL and Purelator. See what the Stampeders have on 1st and 10, down a score. Here is the run game that they've been hoping to get going. 8 yards for Dedrick Mills on one of his better carries in this game.
Sometimes you're just trying to get big offensive linemen and good opportunities. Nakano is going to pull into the hole, and he's going to create the hole for Dedrick Mills. You can see him up. He's isolated on the linebacker, drives him downfield to create the 8-yard gain for Dedrick Mills.
2nd and 2 then for the Stamps. Tight end and fullback in there. Feels like a run play, but anything is possible. Mills dusts one man 40 to the 45-yard line, where he's brought down by Malcolm Bell. Dedrick Mills, 9 yards there, and the engine is humming.
Yeah, and that's the stuff you talk about. You're not going to get carries on 2nd and long. 2nd and 2, you're going to get some. Sometimes those are just 2-yard gains. Sometimes you're going to bounce them out for big yardage. So first down success, huge for this football team. And they've struggled against, obviously, the best run defense in the Canadian Football League.
7 minutes to go in this game. I'm not sure Calgary wants Saskatchewan to have too many more possessions. So using that run game, churning some clock, may not be their worst enemy. Fullback to the left is Vaughn. There's Mills again, open 50 into Saskatchewan territory. And down Jackson Ford had to come down from his safety position to make the tackle. 14 yards, his longest carry of the day.
Watch Quincy Vaughn on this football play. Let him do a bunch of different things. He's going to once again be what we call an insert. He's going to add in, one kicks out. Watch what he does right there. Good kick out block. Dedrick Mills right up inside. Don't call me a 3rd-string quarterback. Call me a fullback. I'm going to do whatever it takes in this game.
They all like to hit, no matter what position they play. Calgary is driving. How about a draw play to Mills? Why not go back to the bank there? Mills, good for a gain of 3. Gave him the pass look and ran it. As Calgary continues to drive, again going against the wind. 35 points against the wind so far. Calgary needs that to add 7 more. Or what would they consider should they get a touchdown on Joshua Bell's defense?
Yeah, in last series, Josh Bell said, you know what, I'm going to pressure the quarterback. I'm going to force the ball out of his hand quickly with a 1+ cover 0. They're lined up in it right now. They're showing it. Will they do it? Calgary is added in to protect.
Here comes 7. Adams hit from behind, and he holds on to the football. Thankfully for Stampeders fans, but James Vaughters led the Bombers in sacks in 25, leading the Riders and Josh Bell in celebration.
Little miscommunication here by Vaughters. But James Vaughters is free here because the left tackle isn't sure Demery gets actually stepped on. He can't get out to James Vaughters. James Vaughters has a short corner, is able to help get a stop on Vernon Adams because Demery gets stepped on by his guard.
Bassett's punt on the numbers at the 10-yard line for Letcher, just speeding up the field to about the 25-yard line. A 44-yard punt and a good return from Letcher.
Football's a crazy game. Sometimes you're like, okay, we got to protect it, everything will, and then the left guard steps on the left tackle and all of a sudden leads to a pressure.
Vaughters was such a big pickup for Saskatchewan. As you mentioned, the guys they lost in free agency off that defensive line, Malik Carney, Habakkuk Baldonado, Micah Johnson. Vaughters set free by Winnipeg, and just the ultimate CFL professional defensive end. At least 5 sacks I believe it's every year of his CFL career. At least 5 sacks, coming off 6 last season.
Well, we'll see what Clarence Hicks has on this other side. See what happens. You're going to get some run plays right here from the Riders.
Johnson, the tight end, to the right-hand side as they give it to Bertrand Houdon. up to the 32-yard line. This is the grinded out time of the game and the time for timeouts from the Calgary side of the game.
Calgary.
And here's the hard part of this. So you're sitting at 2nd and 7. You would love to continue to run the football. I don't think that's going to happen here. 2nd and 7, you get your pass. But like at this part of the game, you always have to have in your game plan things what you call protecting your core runs. Because when everybody knows you're going to run the football, what type of runs? Do you have a wrong way run? Do you have a screen pass? Things that keep the clock running but aren't just running the ball right up in the middle into the teeth of the defense. So what do they have that's a safe, quick pass here, or what do they have from a run that's going to keep the clock going? But I expect Trevor to put the ball up in the air.
Calgary with the timeout, so they will have 1 remaining here. 4:04 left. Saskatchewan facing the 2nd and 6. Under the 4-man rush, Harris has to pick it off the turf. Out wide of the sticks, and it is caught. I believe that's Del Duncan Busby on the far side of the field. 6+1 is a Saskatchewan first down.
Best thing that happened was that they had only 6 yards to go. On the outside, they're just going to run a 6-yard out right at the sticks. You're going to see the ball goes vertical and then right out to the flat, right at the sticks, right? Throw it 6 yards, get the extra yards for the first down, go back to running the football again.
Moncrief with that little peek, and Del Duncan Busby able to get his 2nd catch of the game. 39-yard line, 1st and 10. The tight ends are back in. And a play action. Harris looking left side for Keyshawn Johnson. But Anthony Johnson in terrific coverage. They hit that play last week against BC, but not there.
You know, this is very similar to what happened last week. Montreal, late in their game, they took a shot, hit it for a touchdown. Here, hey, they're saying, hey, everybody's stopping the run. This is a safe, protected pass. We should get the one-on-one opportunity. But Anthony Johnson gets this knockdown to stop the clock here. Okay, but the clock should go right down, and it'll stop right now at the 3-minute warning.
Yep, they get to the 3-minute warning now, essentially an automatic timeout. So Calgary gets the benefit of that, and they have Saskatchewan in 2nd and 10 when we return. Trevor Harris, 300 yards and counting for the Riders. Week 4 in the CFL begins with Thursday Night Football as the unbeaten first-place Edmonton Elks head to Winnipeg to take on the Bombers. Bombers coming off a bye. They're back to action Thursday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, 6 o'clock in Winnipeg. Big moment in this game. After that first down incompletion, Saskatchewan faces 2nd and 10 from their own 39. Up by 7, and the clock stopped at exactly 3 minutes to go.
How are they helping Clarence Hicks? How are they helping stop Clarence Hicks in pass rush?
Harris across the middle behind his intended receiver, Emelis. Back into Jaden Grant, who has some words of celebration because Calgary has hope about to get the ball back.
Field goal range doesn't really matter, obviously, with the score of this, so they got to drive, and we know this whole game, the points have only come against the wind.
Harris just a little behind Emelis there. Emelis 3 for 78 in this game. Harris 307 passing, but it's been a little cold here in the 4th quarter. The clock is stopped at 2:55, so Saskatchewan is working the play clock for good practice, and Chapman's punt is up, and here's McAllister. Dropped it, scoops it at the 15. 56-yard punt is good news for the Riders, and then spun out of bounds. David Benda with the tackle there at the far side. And Calgary has a lot of room to work with here, needing the touchdown, Lapo, as you mentioned, down 7, field goals not in play, I would
and you see there's a lot of time left on the clock for that 2nd and long. You know, that 2nd and 10 where is an incomplete pass. You know, you're still 2nd and 10. You're going to try your best to get a throw off to keep the ball in your hands. Unless you're in a 2nd and 8-7, you might call a draw play.
Hello, you.
Hello.
Enjoying some Stampeders football, are you? 1st and 10, Stamps from their 22-yard line. 3 receivers to Adams' right. Extra man coming. Adams under pressure, bailed out across the middle of the 35. Vernon Adams to Eric Brooks. a throw from Adams with pressure directly in his face.
Bunch of guys denting the pocket. You see Mike Rose getting in there. You see all these guys standing at the line of scrimmage trying to show blitz. They drop out, but Brooks is the inside receiver. It's hard for the linebacker to see Thurman overrun it because he's dropping out quickly, and then you get the 14-yard completion to Brooks.
1st and 10 from the 36 with 2:23 remaining. Time to run it with Mills to the outside. He is hit and down shy of the 40-yard line. Is it Marcus Sales sticking his nose in there?
I think for Calgary Stampeders, they got a lot of confidence. 2 weeks ago, they did a 104-yard drive at the end of the game. Dietrich Mills circles the defense on the outside zone. As the end doesn't play contain, he's just going to stay on his landmark and keep running outside for the 4-yard gain.
Are you in 3-down territory here at 2:07 on the clock?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, 2nd and 7 for Adams. They move the 3 receivers to the left-hand side. Sask puts 5 on the line of scrimmage. They all rush. Adams bombing it to the outside at midfield. A leaping catch, and I'm not 100% sure why Philpott left for it. And it's 3rd down Stampeders and decision time for Dave Dickinson.
Philpott's going to show up on the right part of your screen. It's what you call a bench route, where you bench it down to the sideline. He leaves his feet a little bit and just loses sight of it and control as he leaves his feet. Sometimes these leave your feet catches are very difficult. You got to work on those catches. He's got to make that catch. Ball hits him right in the hand.
3rd and 7. If you give it up, Saskatchewan's probably in field goal range. Adams across the middle, complete for the 1st down. Tevin Jones up to the 50-yard line. I wondered if the Calgary receiver in the slot got early across the line. It did not matter. And Tevin Jones good for 11.
Here's Tevin Jones. Okay, we'll take a look and see if anybody's off. No, they're right on. You guys are always trying to jump the...
Adams guns it quickly. It's Philpott, makes the catch across the 50 down to the 45. Philpott just hooks it up short, races it for 15 more with 97 seconds remaining.
Really good. Clear out on the last play on the 3rd and 5. Get the underneath crossing route. Now you're in tempo. Take the softness of the defense, gives you a hitch. Take the hitch.
3 receivers to Adams right, looking left. Gunning a little comeback. It's Tevin Jones if he can break a tackle. Forced out of bounds by Tavon Campbell. Jones, a massive 2nd down, almost conversion in that 104-yard drive against Winnipeg. Got 14 on 2nd and 15 here. He's right close to a 1st down.
Vernon's looking inside. There's a double team on the inside on Jalen Philpott, so he takes the outside throw. Good concentration, good throw on the outside. Create the 2nd and short scenario.
Chris Fortan substitutes on. Presumably an extra offensive lineman out there for Calgary here on 2nd and 2. And motion. And everything feels like a run play. Dietrich Mills, and he's got a hole in the 30. Off a tackle, spins down to the 25 and down to the 23-yard line. DeMarcus Fields with the tackle. Oh, they've unlocked their big back.
A little bit what you call, some people call this ugly or a same side run. You're trying to show it's run to the left, but it's right down the middle of the defense. Watch Fortan right here. Knock the defenders, bash the hole, get this huge 13-yard gain. Watch him knock Thurman right there. 2nd-year player Chris Fortan from UConn.
8th play of the drive with 1:08 remaining in the clock running. Adams drop play. Mills 20. To the 15, over a man, leaving bodies in his wake at the 12-yard line. They couldn't get anything in the run game in the 1st half. They're getting everything here in the 4th quarter.
Josh Woods runs out of the box as Josh Woods runs out of the box to go play coverage, cover all these receivers. Great call by offensive coordinator Pat Delmonico. Let's do another draw as everybody expands out of the box. Get Mills another carry.
12-yard gain. Mills over 90 yards now. More importantly, 1st and 10 from the Saskatchewan 12. A touchdown and a convert would tie it. Adams, blitz coming. He's going to do a scramble out to his left. Trying to keep the pass alive to the end zone. Jump ball. Tevin Jones for the touchdown. Vernon Adams scrambling to throw. And big Tevin Jones gets his first touchdown of the season. with 34 seconds to go. Corey Mason, disbelief.
This is why you love quarterbacks. You're going to see a blocker come in and Josh Woods blitz. And Josh Woods gets there as Philpott comes in. Philpott goes to make the block. He loses the block, but Woods can't bring him down. You want mobile quarterbacks so they can do things like this with the football. Just throw it up to the spot for Tavon Jones. Huge play by Vernon Adams.
And the convert from Mickatopney, big as well. 31-31. It's good to have 6'3", 222-pound receivers who can jump and fight for the ball on your side, like number 4, Tevin Jones.
Week 1, 104-yard touchdown drive. This one, 88 yards, 2:10 on the clock. Again, Vernon Adams said the best thing he's been doing is taking the short throws, taking the stuff, couple of draw plays in there to mix it up, using his legs to create a huge opportunity. He did that 2 weeks ago, does it again. Huge, but let's not forget, the defense, you have to do complimentary football. The defense got the stop, put Vernon Adams back on the field. 88 yards later, nice touchdown drive.
3 things. Calgary kicking off into the wind. How much of a factor will that be? Secondly, how much does Saskatchewan trust Alex Hale to kick a game-winning field goal, having passed on an opportunity of, what was it, 42 yards earlier in this game?
It's going to be, it was the wind, I think, the reason they didn't kick that second one.
It would be a great redemptive story for Alex Hale. They need a good kickoff to Calgary from Mickatopney here. It is up. Letcher. This is good. It's to the 15-yard line, middle of the field. They'll have a chance to return at 25, 30 to the 35, and shy of the 40-yard line.
This game is going to come down to the Calgary defense. Can they get a stop on that guy right there? That guy who throws completions, sees every coverage, know what's happening. Calgary's D's got to make this stop right there. Keep them from kicking a field goal and take this, get it into overtime.
If you thought a football triple header was not enough.
How about that? Back-to-back
overtime.
Well, we don't have it yet. 27 seconds
but
left.
It lays in front of us. However, Calgary saw Zach Collaros and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers offense get a field goal in a scenario much like this one. Still no Ouellette. It's Bertrand Hudon splitting out 1st and 10. Harris gunning across the middle. Kian Schaefer-Baker down to shy of the 50 with 21 seconds left on the clock. 61 yards away, so a 69-yard field goal. They'll try to shorten it up for Alex Hale for his first CFL game winner potentially.
Schaefer-Baker just goes into the zone, vacated by the linebacker.
Harris pumps in a hole, open, almost picked off the hands of Sam Emelis. Anthony Johnson had it in his red gloves, but it falls incomplete with 12 seconds to go. Does that play save the Riders' chances here?
Anthony Johnson thinking it's going to be an underneath throw on the two underneath 6-yard hitches. He gets depth at the end, and he just can't bring it down. Look the ball in your hand, Anthony. Come on, man.
2nd and 10. Riders on their own 49-yard line. Maybe 2 more plays before a field goal attempt that would win it. 4-man rush. Harris gunning the out. High and incomplete. Keyshawn tried to one-hand that ball. It falls incomplete with 8 seconds left. Saskatchewan set to send on the punt team.
So, you know, you don't have enough time. Like, there are some scenarios you do where you're going to try to throw the ball. Like, you don't want to punt the ball. And if you had 6 seconds left, you can try to do what you call victory pass, where you just throw the ball as far as you can, as high as you can, out of bounds.
Yep.
But it's just a little long for that, so you're going to have to punt the football.
And too much time to turn around and run toward your own end zone. Yep. You'll have to boot it. This one, Brooks bobbles it, scoops it up, made the first man miss, flag down. 20. And down to the 22-yard line with zeros on the clock. And pending the penalty being exactly what we think it is against Calgary, we're going to have overtime. 2 overtime games in one province.
During the return,
in one day.
Calgary number 82. That penalty be declined. Game is tied. We'll go to overtime.
Leomi Ojatalayo, pardon me. called for the penalty, number 3 on the rookie. Zeros on the clock, 31-31 the score. Saskatchewan, for a spell, dominated this game offensively, and incredibly, Lapo, they should just play overtime into the win, right? Like, that must be a thing.
Yeah, well, well, first of all, I'm still going back to your penalty call on Laomi. Like, that's going to be a tough special teams meeting when you get 3 as a rookie. You get 3 penalties, special teams penalties. All right, back to this now. So very important. We saw was it just last week or 2 weeks ago, the Hamilton Tiger Cats, was it the Hamilton Tiger, who got the win in overtime a couple weeks ago because of the turnover? The Hamilton Tiger Cats lost to the Montreal Alouettes.
Carrick Weekfall's fumble.
Yeah, it's Carrick Weekfall's fumble. So what has to happen here is you're normally going to want to play defense to know how many points you have, but the team that's on offense first, they've got to do a really good job of protecting the football. If it's a turnover, usually the other team is going to win immediately. And you know, if you're up second, you know how many points you need to get. So, hey, the momentum is with the Calgary Stampeders. The defense has gotten the stops they need. Vernon Adams using his legs, and they actually got the run game going a little bit.
So we're going to flip the coin. You're going to call it, just like at the start of the game. That's tails, that's heads. Choose offense, defense, or the end we're going to play in. Your call? Tails. Tails? It's a head. You've won the toss. You want to start with offense. Which end would you like to play in? We'll play in that end. Good luck.
Now, if Mark Vassett in fact said offense, no team these days chooses to take the ball first in overtime. They excessively choose to go second in overtime, and it's the winner earlier today. Montreal had the ball first, a field goal. Cody Fajardo had the ball second with the Elks, scored a touchdown. Overwhelmingly, teams choose to go second, but Calgary has chosen to go first if they think they're riding the momentum of the last score, if they're thinking they're riding the momentum of we're the slight underdog in this game. A very interesting decision from Dave Dickinson. I will note, in the 20 years of CFL history that I can look back on them, teams that go first win more often, just not in this last little run.
Okay.
I've been trying to sell that one to CFL coaches. They're not buying it.
No.
But Dave Dickinson might be onside. So here's Vernon Adams. Alternating chances from the 35-yard line. They'll fake the handoff. Adams looking, surveying, under pressure. Back across his body to Brooks at the 25-yard line and down to the 21. Eric Brooks again with catch number 6.
Jameer Thurman is in a great spot. If you watch him, he sees this play action is going to happen. He goes and gets underneath. He gets in a good position as he's trying to go make a play right here. But then all of a sudden the throw's all the way across the field, across his body. That's a great throw by Vernon Adams, getting it to Brooks. Thurman's trying to get that stop on the edge. Brooks is in a good spot, but Vernon Adams using his legs.
First and 10 for the 22. Vaughn in the backfield as they hand it off. Mills, 20, 15. Dedrick Mills. The engine is humming. 11 yards and a Calgary first down.
Christy Nakanu, he creates this hole. Does a great job pushing everybody, getting the cut down, and then getting the crease that Mills follows right up inside. For the first down on first down.
Questions being asked now of the Saskatchewan defense, figuratively speaking. Can they get Calgary off the field, hold them to a field goal attempt here as the Stamps have driven now first and 10 from the 11-yard line. 6 on the line of scrimmage. Here come both linebackers across the middle, and it's through the hands of Brooks and incomplete. Both linebackers, Thurman and Woods, coming on that one.
Just a little quick throw in here. Vernon had to throw this quick because this is what you would call 1+. There's one more blitzer coming. You can see Vernon right there going, hey, you got to see it. I know it's blitz. I got to get the ball in my hands. I'm going to bring it to you quickly. You got to see that ball, Brooks. I'm throwing it as soon as I see the extra defender rushing.
2nd and 10 now for the Stampeders. They'll put 3 receivers into the short side. Adams right. Saskatchewan will play some coverage. Adams waiting, pulls it down, and he's going to scramble. And he's caught from behind. James Botters with a big play. The sack was big. The tackle there might be even bigger as it holds Calgary to a field goal attempt on the opening possession of OT.
Vaughters, great effort as he comes in. He dents the pocket. Now he's recovering, chasing, spinning. That's why you have to have defensive linemen who have great hips and can turn and start going. Great play on one of the most mobile quarterbacks we've seen in a long time in this league, getting that foot down.
Fassett will pin this ball right hash mark at the 17-yard line. Mikitomney for the lead is up and good. So he set the bar. 3 points for Calgary. What can Saskatchewan do in response? They will get their possession from the 35, and we'll work from there. If it's tied, you saw the rules earlier. If it's tied, they'll do once more from the 35, or heaven forbid, maybe the new rule comes into play.
Yes, with 2-point conversions as we go. But for Trevor Harris and Mark Mueller and company, hey, just keep doing what we've been doing. We believe it's going to be successful. Lead us down to a touchdown.
It's been a little cold for the Riders. 4 plays, 11 yards, 5 plays, 11 yards, 3 plays, -6 yards. They haven't had a drive longer than 5 plays in their last 5 drives. They'll need it here without their running back, A.J. Olent. It's Bertrand Hudon looking to push the pile down to the 30-yard line. Thomas Bertrand Hudon, good for 5.
Moncrief recognizes this run, comes in, delivers a shot. You know, good run here to get you a little bit closer. You know, you're at the 30-yard line, get a little bit of wind at your back. You want to make sure this first play, you don't lose any yardage. You want to make sure I've got the field goal in my pocket to continue this overtime. So you didn't want to lose yardage on first one. Sitting in a good second and medium.
How aggressive will they be on 2nd and 5? Harris looking to his right, throws it quickly. Caught by Jalen Johnson, taken away. It was in his hands until Derek Moncrief got in there. So it's 3rd down, and Alex Hale will have a chance to extend this game.
What Moncrief is so good at, he's covering the inside slot. That's why Trevor goes to the outside one, and then he shows up. He recovers after the ball's thrown and gets a piece of this throw into Johnson. Moncrief showing up once again out at that Sam linebacker position.
Alex Hale, 1 for 2, has a 38-yarder to send this game to a 2nd overtime, going with the breeze. The hold is good. The kick is good. And 34-34 will send us to overtime number 2, and the Saskatchewan offense will stay on the field.
Good stop on defense, you know, especially on a 2nd and medium. Trevor Harris gets that quick throw on the outside, but Moncrief's really good. This was close by Hale.
So 3 points for 3 points for each team into the breeze. I think we're all expecting that going now into the wind. With the wind, 3 apiece. This is where the money's made in this game.
It's where all the touchdowns are, right?
It's absolutely unexpected. The 2 games here in Calgary have featured massive wind, problems for both teams. And I say problems because, except for 28, was it still 28-7? Saskatchewan going into the wind. I'm just flustered at 2 overtimes and how this game turned when Saskatchewan, their offense was 3-1 at one point. Like they were running all over this Calgary team, and then all of a sudden this 4th quarter, Dedrick Mills has really come alive.
And now the interesting thing that's really got to happen here for Calgary is with this ball at the 35 and us flipping sides, they're in, I don't think the wind is as bad as it was to start the game, but there still is a decent amount of wind here. They got to make sure that they get some yardage on one of these 2 downs to make sure you can still kick a field goal.
So here come the Stampeders into the breeze now from the 35, 1st and 10. VA 217 yards passing, goes play action. Deep on the outside, tight coverage! Oh, into the hands of DeMarcus Fields, who is going to get called. You saw the flag down as Eric Brooks wants pass interference.
I think they're going to get this. I mean, DeMarcus Fields, you can see Brooks moving and DeMarcus Fields pulling him down. Okay, we're right there. There's Brooks. We'll watch this as he goes, oh, He's going to fake a stalk. This is a screen and go
Offensive
play.
pass interference. Calgary number 87.
Whoa,
10-yard penalty.
OPI, everybody.
Well, you can see Brooks with his Brooks's left hand in there grabbing DeMarcus Fields. So this is a huge penalty. Getting this penalty on first down now is probably taking you out of field goal range.
At the 45, this would be a 53-yard attempt.
Into the wind.
Into the wind. So
worst case scenario, well, Stampeders.
It puts Calgary, at least for the moment, in 3-down territory, you'd have to believe. Adams in the pocket. Out wide open is Brissett. At the 30, broke a tackle down to the 25-yard line. The penalty turned out to be no problem as Dejon Brissett was left all alone.
Great vision on the outside. Vernon Adams recognizing when teams play zone, everybody plays inside and they leave the widest. You can't cover everything in a zone. And you see everybody lift up, the corners in the deep third, the halfbacks on the inside, and they leave Dejon Brissett all the way outside on his own.
Quarterback sneak from Quincy Vaughn. It looks like he gets across the 25. Malcolm Bell, the halfback, in there, right? Because Juju Hughes was injured. They had to do some shuffling. They brought in the rookie Malcolm Bell, and he and DeMarcus Fields had their problems on the big catch from Dejon Brissett. Corey Mace needing a stop from his defense.
Bell, first-year player from Michigan State. I mean, a big 6'2", 188, looked really good in the draft. Watching the draft clip of him, going to be a very good player in this league.
Thrust into action for injuries, as Saskatchewan's had them on both sides of the ball in this game. 9 on the play clock, plenty of time for Adams from the 20, just inside the 25. Wide receiver screen out to Brooks, blockers in front, 20, 15, flag down in the area of holding. He is down just shy of the 5-yard line, but a flag down thrown toward Bashawn Genesis, the receiver.
Holding. Calgary number 81. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
And it was Genesis called for the foul there, trying to block DeMarcus Fields.
You know, these screen passes are very difficult for some of these receivers to block on the edge, especially when you see the ball in the air quickly. Those DBs are going to come up quickly. This is a well-executed play.
Yeah.
Saskatchewan blitz. They threw it on the perimeter to the screen that handles the blitz. You just can't get the holding call. Dave Dickinson doesn't think it's a holding call.
Ball moved back to just inside the Saskatchewan 35 for this 1st and 20 play. They stack up the line of scrimmage. 5-man run. Adams just throws the ball away. Wasn't sure if he was trying to set up a quarterback draw, but just chucked it at the feet of his running back.
The ruling on the field is an incomplete pass.
And it'll be 2nd and 20 for the Stamps.
So we're going to see pressure coming in. We got a couple of people on the sideline. You see Evans coming off the edge here.
The previous play is under review by the command center.
That absolutely looked like an incomplete pass. Yeah. Trevor Harris's ball earlier on, he was not in a throwing motion. Is Adams in a throwing motion here?
No, I think this is going to be a throw by the replay center. I think the replay center is going to say this is a throw.
His hand appeared to get swatted by, I didn't see who the defender was, but the white glove smacks the back of Adams' hand, which I guess is what they'll take a look at. But everything about that felt like, I mean, a heads-up play from Adams. It wasn't, whether that was a quarterback draw or what it was going bad, and he...
I think the pressure. I think it was a pressure situation. He had to get the ball out to the tail. He is trying to get the ball out to Dedrick Mills.
Yeah, Desmond the Disruptor Evans, the rookie out of NC State, getting in on Vernon Adams on that one. All right, so we wait the call from referee Tom Valesi. This would be a massive moment in this game. If this is a fumble, Adams stepping up. I see what Saskatchewan wants. I see what Corey Mace wants.
I don't think it's conclusive enough to overturn the call.
And there's the rub, right? It's not what actually happened. It's what can replay prove, right?
Clear and obvious.
Exactly.
is what the replay center always talks about. Clear and obvious.
Calgary fans waiting to find out. Turnovers in overtime are death in the Canadian Football League. Oh, I see what they're saying. Referee Tom Valesi.
After review by the replay center, the ruling on the field stands. Incomplete pass.
If you are a Riders fan, you might say that was very clearly a fumble. Was it clear and obvious enough to overturn is always the standard. All right. Stamps now 2nd and 20 from just outside the 34. 2 men creep up. 7-man pressure. Adams bailed out. Caught. Barnes, 25, still on the run. 20 and down to the 17-yard line. Adams standing tall in the face of pressure for 17 yards.
Josh Bell dials up a big blitz. Watch, you're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and an extra guy coming off the edge. All these guys are blitzing. It's 1+. What does he do? Vernon retreats, finds Clark Barnes, gets him on the inside, but it's still 2 yards short because of what happened on their first drive, first play. So now field goal coming.
Jude McAtamney from just inside the 25-yard line, 2 for 2 on the day. He's hit all of his converts as well to give Calgary the lead. And it's good.
And that was a big gain, because even if that ball is at the 35, there's no guarantee with this win that would have been an easy field goal.
Every yard closer makes a big deal in these circumstances. Saskatchewan's final chance to respond from the 35. A touchdown will win it for the Riders. A field goal will get our first look at the shootout of converts from the 3-yard line. The new rule in the CFL this season for overtimes. They've decided they don't want any more ties.
CFL hates ties. They hate ties.
Well, who wants to kiss their sister, Lapo? Nobody wants that. All right, Trevor Harris and company. 43-yard field goal from this spot right here. As you said, Lapo, with the breeze is no sure thing. Tight end and an extra blocker in there on first down. Fake it to Bertrand Hudon. The deep out. Stroke. Evers diving. He has it in his hands. His feet were in bounds. And it's a first down for the Riders with a gain of 12.
Big time throw. Huge catch by Sam Emulus. He's taking the one-on-one for the 3rd time today, but it's a little far outside. Diving catch, gets his knees inbound. That's a huge play by Emulus. And the trust that Trevor Harris has. Hey, quick play action. I'm going to throw it outside to my guy who had 3 touchdowns last week.
Kian Schaefer-Baker on 2 touchdowns in this game. 119 yards receiving. Could a third one be in his future? He's the 2nd receiver on the bottom of your screen. Bertrand Hudon around 1 man and up forward to the 20-yard line. 3 yards for Bertrand Hudon.
Jalen Hutchings really got some good penetration at the start of that run. Pushed Jacob Brammer out of the way to make the stop. You can see him right here. Watch what happens on the run. Trying to get a little bit closer. Dave throws and gets in there for the play.
With the help from Furland as well. Saskatchewan 2nd and 7. Harris with 3 receivers to his right, looking left, now back to his right. Harris can scramble, keeps it alive at the sticks. The comeback, Dale Duncan Busby. Right near the sticks, they spot it at the 12, and it's another Riders first down.
When we talked to Trevor Harris this week, talked about I don't run, dude. Trevor Harris doesn't run. He says, no, I go through all my progressions. I will run when I have to if I can't find something. And that's what you get right there. A little bit of a scramble to find one of his outlet receivers. Great catch with the knee down.
Knees 100% down.
Okay. Yep.
Del Duncan Busby did it perhaps wobble when he hit the ground.
They will go on that ball, though.
And there is a whistle.
Here we go.
Dave Dickinson with a challenge flag.
Thought that ball might have dropped out at the end.
That was a 2nd and 7 play. So Dickinson, you might as well in this spot use that challenge flag.
Calgary is challenging. The pass was incomplete. We'll review the play.
Is the knee down? Does he have possession?
I think the knee's down, but Did he survive contact with the ground?
Shins down. What about the football?
I think the ball touches. Between his elbows.
And look how much it moves.
Yeah,
it's
up there.
It's rolling. He's got his hand on it, and it's rolling. He's absolutely in bounds, but ball moves with his hand.
He's got his hands underneath it, though. Like, this is, I would not want to be the replay center right now on this call.
Once again, is that enough to overturn the call on the field? Del Duncan Busby would have Saskatchewan in a fantastic position. 1st and 10 from the 12. But if this is ruled incomplete, they're going to need an Alex Hale field goal to keep this game going. Yeah, Saskatchewan fans should be a little nervous here. Again, Duncan Busby just trying to come back to the football.
I think that's not a catch. I don't think that's a catch. It's my call.
After review by the replay center, the ruling on the field stands. We have a completed catch.
Okay.
Was it enough to overturn? It doesn't matter what the truth is. What can replay see, and will it be definitive? It's a Duncan Busby catch.
Did Tom Valesi just say the command center? I think he did. I think that's the second time. I'm just going on the record saying it's a replay center, not the command center, because I always screw that up.
1st and 10 from the 12. Couple of tight ends in there. Fake the handoff. Kean Schaefer-Baker stopped at the goal line. He was cracked by Jackson Sombach, and Kean Schaefer-Baker was roughly 2 feet from the game-winning touchdown.
Nice play by Jackson Sombach, knocking him back in. But you've put the ball in a position at this yard line for Tommy Stevens football with 2 downs. Stomach the ball.
3 downs. First and goal now.
Yeah, 1st and goal now. Yeah, sorry.
Would they go for it on 3rd down becomes an interesting question. But Tommy Stevens.
Got 3 plays to get it in, finish the game right here.
Yeah, 1st and goal from the 1. Stevens, 92% career on his quarterback sneaks on all downs. These to win the game. To the right side, Stevens in for the touchdown. Touchdown, Tommy. There's a new one in Saskatchewan. It's Tommy Stevens and the Saskatchewan Roughriders pull it out in overtime, 40-37. And they send Calgary to an 0-2 start for the first time since 2009.
Tommy Stevens going off tackle here. You see those 2 big bodies in the front side gap. So what does he do? Goes off tackle, a little bit softer out there, gets over the top for the touchdown and for the win.
Jacob Brammer just hauled 2 linebackers out of the way, and Tommy Stevens, it's not just smash the ball up the middle and quarterback sneaks. There's some tact and some craft into it, and maybe no one better than Tommy Stevens of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And at the moment, no one better in the West than the Saskatchewan Roughriders. They tie the Elks at 2-0.
Hey, that start of this drive with Sam Emulus making that great catch on the sideline, and Del Duncan Busby making a great catch too on the sideline, leading to these short fields. Kean Schaefer-Baker and then Tommy Stevens. So Trevor Harris, another great night. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 64% and 350 yards.
An incredible day. They withstood the loss of Juju Hughes. They withstood the loss of A.J. Ouellette. And yes, Vernon Adams and company contemplate life at 0-2, having lost 2 games to their Western rivals.
First time since 2009 that they've started 0-2.
Conflicting reports on Kean Schaefer-Baker for the fans here in Calgary. Final score in overtime, Saskatchewan 40 and the Calgary Stampeders 37. The Grey Cup champions just keep on winning. Tommy Stevens getting it done. It went cold there in the second half. The defense got hit a few times. Some big plays benefited the Stampeders, but ultimately the Grey Cup champions live on undefeated. We're back Thursday with the unbeaten Edmonton Elks in Winnipeg. For Paul Lapalisse, Britt Dorton, the crew, I'm Derek Taylor. Thank you so much for